It is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us on the radio waves. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, by the way, and the Skype username here is lrn.fm, so feel free to reach out to us there. And as always, you can talk about anything that you want to discuss. That is the point of Free Talk Live. That's why we're here. Now, of course, we always bring stuff in that we find interesting to talk about. And for whatever reason, old Roy Moore is back in the news here today. And actually, I've heard his name come up a number of times over the last week. This is the guy who many may recall from years ago on this show. We talked about he was like the Ten Commandments guy. By the way, in the studio tonight, my name's Ian.
I'm Mike Laurie.
And I'm Mark.
So didn't he have, like, out front of the Supreme Court of Alabama some kind of Ten Commandments statue years ago?
Yeah, it's a monument. Yeah.
I think I think the monument was a different place. I think he had it inside the courthouse.
Really?
It's like he get that way he could stroke it every day or something. Because if I recall, these monuments were put up all across the United States by, like, maybe the American Legion or some organization.
That sounds a little bit disrespectful. I think he was polishing them is a better way to describe it.
According to Wikipedia, Moore was elected to the position of Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court in 2001, but removed from his position in November of 2003 by the Alabama Court of the Judiciary for refusing to remove a monument of the Ten Commandments that was commissioned by him from the Alabama Judicial Building, despite orders to do so by a federal court. So that's a little bit of background on this guy. And now he is back in the news because he's running for office in, some kind of a special election, an Alabama Senate race.
U.S. Senate race.
And I think, Mark, you had a story about Roy Moore because he's come out and said something, well, not surprisingly, outrageous.
Yeah, just shortly after Rand Paul gives him an endorsement of some sort.
In case you thought Rand Paul for a moment was an actual libertarian, he has now endorsed this Bible-thumping theocrat for this seat.
I guess I'm a little more generous to Rand than you are.
Maybe he's a lesser evil. Who's he running against?
I have no idea.
Ian doesn't care. Ian likes these snazzy stories. And this is one. Senate candidate Roy Moore believes that professional athletes who take a knee during the national anthem are breaking the law. In an interview with Time magazine, the Alabama Republican argued that NFL players and others who have protested police violence are violating a section of the U.S. Code. That's true, which outlines how people should conduct themselves when the anthem is played.
You've got to be kidding me.
I thought this was America.
This code outlines proper etiquette. There is no legal penalty outlined in the law. It's against the law. Did you know that? It was an act of Congress.
This is Roy Moore saying this?
I'm doing my best,
Okay,
man.
I just meant to make sure who you're quoting here.
It's really Ross Perot by the sounds of it, but
okay.
I'm doing my best. It was an act of Congress that every man stand and put their hand on their heart. That's the law. I'm not sure why he wants to pick out every man, but fine. And, this hand over the heart thing.
Where's the story from, by the way? I'm sorry.
It's time.com.
Time, okay.
This hand over the heart thing is new. As I recall in the 80s, when they were playing you put your hand over your heart for the Pledge of Allegiance, and you stood at attention for the Star Spangled Banner.
Okay.
Well, you would put if you had your ball cap on, you would put your ball cap over your heart.
You'd certainly take your ball cap off, and it's a fine place to put it.
Yeah.
And I think that somebody put their hand over their heart during the national anthem, that everybody's like, oh boy, they're doing that thing. Maybe I got to do that thing too. That's a patriotic thing.
Well, we could go back to before World War II when people did the pledge. They did what was called the Bellamy salute.
That's right. The fascist salute.
And the fascist salute, which is, and if you look at old pictures, it was pretty much identical to the salute that the Nazis did. So, is that an improvement or just a change of symbology in worship of the state?
Well, the article that you're reading, Mark, does actually link to the U.S. code in question. It's 36 U.S.C. 301.
Yep.
National anthem designation, the composition consisting of the words and music known as the Star-Spangled Banner is the national anthem. Section B, during a rendition of the national anthem, 1. When the flag is displayed, A. Individuals in uniform should give the military salute at the first note of the anthem and maintain that position until the last notes. B. Members of the armed forces and veterans who are present but not in uniform may render the military salute in the manner provided for individuals in uniform. And C. All other persons present should face the flag and stand at attention with their right hand over the heart, and men not in uniform, if applicable, should remove their headdress with their right hand and hold it at the left shoulder, the hand being over the heart. And number 2, when the flag is not displayed, all present should face toward the music and act in the same manner as they would if the flag were displayed. Now, it doesn't specify...
What if it's quadraphonic music coming from all directions?
What if it's a quadriplegic? I mean, you know, this is... It's in the U.S. code. It's the flag code. This is what it's known as.
Assume the position.
Yeah, right. It wants you to assume the position. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, there's no penalty for it. This is just sort of etiquette.
Is there no penalty for it, or is it a violation, whatever the level of violation penalties would be?
The law says it should, not you shall or must. So,
did it say should?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's more of an advisory.
You're right. It does say should. Nice catch. Very good.
Should's real important in these situations.
Grammar Nazi.
Which means that Roy Moore is, if he's saying what he's saying here, claiming that it is a violation of the U.S. code, he is not telling the truth, because it just says should.
I think he needs to take some reading lessons down there in those Alabama schools.
Right. This is a supposed Supreme Court justice in Alabama. I mean, somebody who should know a thing or two about the words of law, legal land, and the fact that, you know, words are very important and definitions of words are very important when it comes to law.
Given how much reverence he has for the Ten Commandments, we should note that the Ten Commandments say, thou shalt not, rather than thou must not. So maybe he's a little confused by his biblical language. You
don't think that the 17th century shalt just adds a little oomph to it? You don't think that that's just, it's a little more urgent when you say shalt as opposed to shall?
I don't know.
I don't know. It sounds that way.
Thou must.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. We got Pete calling in from Berlin, New Hampshire. Pete, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Pete. Pete in Berlin. Going once. We have Pete in Berlin, New Hampshire. Going twice. We may be having some difficulties behind the scenes there at our network. We'll put Pete back on hold, presuming our network is actually still with us here, and I think they are. So toll-free number tonight if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE like freedom. So what more from this story about Roy Moore?
Yeah, going on. He says, it's against the law. You know that? It was an act of Congress that every man stand and put their hand over their heart. That's the law.
No, you're lying.
He's also on record being a serious homophobe. And he's, as a judge, he said, homosexual behavior is a ground for divorce, an act of sexual misconduct punishable as a crime in Alabama.
Well, that's probably true in Alabama.
I think it is probably grounds for divorce.
But I guess horses and so forth are okay.
I doubt that either.
I don't think he has any particular reason to go, mentioning bestiality with homosexuality. But if your spouse decides that they're going to participate in a random series of homosexual acts, sure. I'll go grant you divorce on that. Go ahead.
Well, what if it's a gay marriage?
Fine.
Consummate the marriage and grounds for divorce.
Reasonably certain he wasn't sitting on the bench when gay marriage was legal in Alabama.
Not, Is there more, Mark?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought we were going with what Mike was talking about there. Yeah. In 2016, the then San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick began taking a knee during the national anthem while campaigning for Moore's primary opponent in Alabama in September. President Trump argued that NFL players who take a knee should be fired, setting off a national controversy.
Apparently, Moore wants to go after them with criminal charges. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, and this is the guy that Rand Paul, the supposed libertarian, just endorsed. There's more coming up
his
here
head now.
In moments. He should have already known, Mark. It's Free Talk Live.
Book Club Radio.
Today we're chatting with Mike Papantonio, leading trial lawyer and prolific author. His latest novel, Law and Vengeance, is a non-stop, action-packed legal thriller. We spoke with him about the book and the real-life issues that inform and inspire his writing.
I think the fiction is easier because the stories kind of tell themselves because of what I do. Now, it may, if I didn't do what I did for a living and I said, well, let me imagine what happens with a whistleblower. Let me imagine what happens when a pharmaceutical company kills people with a dangerous pharmaceutical. Let me imagine what happens when a mega corporation pollutes an entire waterway for 300,000 people. Let me imagine that. It's tough to imagine. But it's very easy to write when you're actually in the middle of that and you're experiencing what's happening firsthand. When you write a fiction book and it's based on reality, it just seems to very often write itself.
On the heels of the critically acclaimed legal thriller Law and Disorder comes Law and Vengeance, the latest novel from famed trial attorney Mike Papantonio. Law and Vengeance follows the law firm of Bergman Dichotomus, who is now in the crosshairs of a weapons manufacturer. But this is not a law firm that plays by all the rules. Based on a real case, Law and Vengeance, the riveting new legal thriller by Mike Papantonio, is available wherever books are sold.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are two Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
Free Talk Live.
I'm a supporter of law enforcement, and my boyfriend's a police officer.
What if there was a law passed that made cigarettes illegal? Would you also support your boyfriend going and raiding people's homes and businesses because they had some black market cigarettes?
Enforce laws if people are smoking cigarettes and they're not supposed to be?
Yeah.
Would he enforce them?
Yes.
Yes, he would.
Right, that's the problem.
It's
his job.
Can I go to a more extreme example then, Lindsay? What if it was like Nazi Germany in 1939 and Jews were illegal? Would your boyfriend go around and grab them and throw them into concentration camps because it was the law?
If it was his job, he would do it.
God.
Wow.
I'm not saying it's not a personal issue. If it's his
It is
job,
personal.
Doing something wrong is doing something wrong whether you've got the law on your side or not, ma'am.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and of course, you can bring up anything you want. We're talking about the theocratic Roy Moore. We're going to get into even more of the dirty details about this lowlife who is running for office and has now been endorsed by Rand Paul, a man that many people who call themselves libertarians want to believe is a libertarian, but he just keeps proving over and over again, you know, like the times where he specifically said he's not a libertarian. He's now proven it even further by giving this Roy Moore character his endorsement, and Reason.com's Brian Doherty is going to tear him up here in just a few moments. With you in the studio, it's Ian.
And Mike.
And Mark.
By the way, you can mine Bitcoin over at pool.bitcoin.com. If you're into Bitcoin, you want to pick a side on the ongoing conflict in the Bitcoin universe. There's, of course, the Bitcoin Core, now Bitcoin Cash, and then coming up in like a week, there may be a new Bitcoin Gold, and then in another 4 weeks or so, there's going to possibly be this major showdown between two different potential forks of Bitcoin. If you want to pick a side, right now, there's only two you can choose. You can go with Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin Cash, and pool.bitcoin.com will allow you to weigh in by siding with the miners and jumping into mining whichever Bitcoin you think is the real Bitcoin. So go to pool.bitcoin.com. You can use their handy calculator to figure out what you might be able to make over time based on what you invest. There's a 100% uptime guarantee. Mark, you and I were both involved over there at bitcoin.com, pool.bitcoin.com. However, you're backing the Bitcoin Core while I'm mining the Bitcoin Cash.
I thought I switched over to...
You said you didn't. You said you were...
Just what was most valuable.
Oh, you switched it to that, huh? Well, in that case, you're supporting Bitcoin Core. Last time I checked.
Okay.
So you can decide for yourself or let pool.bitcoin.com decide for you. Go to pool.bitcoin.com to get involved in that. We're going to give Pete one more try here. Our board op says that he's there now. Pete in Berlin, New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Mike, and Mark.
Hey, guys. How are you doing? Nice show you have.
Pete, thanks. We got you here. Go ahead with what's on your mind tonight.
Oh, I just wanted to touch base with you guys. I happened to tune into one of your shows a few weeks ago and noticed that you had mentioned my new company up here in Berlin, Dirty Girls Co.
What were we talking about regarding
I think
that?
I recall mentioning it.
Mr. Ridley had called in and mentioned something. I don't know if you're the same people that were on that show, but there was some talk about issues in the North Country with our new product, and I just thought you guys might want to clear the air on some items. One of your gentlemen mentioned that they thought we were associated or trying to associate with the Free Staters, which is completely false.
Okay.
We had never associated.
What is Dirty Girls? Is that like, a porn site, or what is it?
I think it's pretty much what you said the last time.
No, it's actually a nice, fun apparel it's targeted at ATVers, outdoor enthusiasts.
Oh, as in girls who like to get dirty.
Mudding. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We have a website, dirtygirlsco.com, and we've been diligently working on getting that up and running. It's still kind of in its rough draft phase. We've only been in business for a couple months.
Now, normally Dave Ridley doesn't call to just talk about a business. I think he called because you were under some kind of attack by the government, or what's going on?
Well, a little bit of everything. A little bit of competition up here, and some of the locals don't like competition. But it's a free market society, and I've always been a capitalist. I've ran businesses for years and years. In fact, in Michigan, I ran a successful business for 19 years and done very well. And I thought perhaps bringing a new business and some new blood into Berlin would help to maybe stir up their economy a little bit.
You'd think that people would be appreciative. I mean, for those that don't know, Berlin is basically the kind Detroit of New Hampshire. It used to be a big logging town, and then years ago, the loggers went out of business. A lot of people lost their jobs. Now, basically, it's a federal and state prison that are located
there's two prisons there right next to each other.
And see, I actually took a trip up here. Everybody advised me against Berlin. People within New Hampshire, said it was kind of a bad move, but I came up here and I fell in love with the people, and I fell in love with the beauty of the North Country.
Like Detroit.
We ended up making the move here, and troubles didn't start until we actually decided to go into business, and we accidentally started competing against another competitor here who, has her own business, and I hope she does very well at it. There were some issues at the river fire recently.
What kind of issues?
My girlfriend and I were
What's a river fire?
walking through a public event they have here in Berlin.
Okay.
And I was actually assaulted by an individual who claimed they had an affiliation with this other competitor.
Oh, boy.
But we won't go into all of that. It's just unfortunate that Berlin wouldn't welcome with open arms a new
Well, now when you say Berlin, I mean, there's a lot of people there. There's 15,000, I think, people up in the Berlin town or city. I guess it is incorporated as a city.
10,
Hang on one second here. If I just want to clarify, it's never generally a good thing to collectivize when it comes to. So it's Berlin itself is just a political designation. There are individuals there. So are you saying that because somebody attacked you at an event, that means that everybody in town hates you?
Oh, no, don't misunderstand me. There was an individual who identified this as being affiliated with a competitor that's been, kind of.
So that's not the whole town. So are there people in town who like you as well?
Well, yeah, we have quite a few people like.
Apparently, the cell phone coverage isn't very good out there in Berlin. We're losing we were losing your signal there. I mean, it's been my experience that when it comes to being somewhere and being somewhat public with my beliefs or the thing that I do, that some people are going to feel strongly about that. Are you a libertarian? Did you move here for the sort of the New Hampshire freedom migration, or are you just a businessman who decided to come here?
Yeah, that's part of it. I always was a liberal or libertarian type person. Followed the news a lot and kind of tried to get involved in that. And yes, that was an attraction here in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm. But didn't you say earlier you didn't have any affiliation with the Free State Project? So did you move here just sort of as the wider part of the New Hampshire freedom migration, but you didn't join the Free State Project?
Yes, that's basically it. We did go to Pork Fest this last year.
Okay.
I was extremely disappointed in it. It wasn't what I expected.
What'd you expect?
And after that, I just kind of disassociated with anybody in the Free State Project because I just didn't.
It seems a little drastic.
What was it about Pork Fest that kind of rubbed you the wrong way?
Well, it didn't really groom me the wrong way. It just didn't seem very exciting. It seemed very bland. Where I'm from, we pay for events and we go to the events, and there's at least quite a bit of excitement there. I don't know. Maybe it's a different people. They like different things here.
Well, the Porcupine Freedom Festival has kind of changed over the years.
It's gotten more family friendly.
Yeah, it used to have like some pretty great parties, and like there was Buzz's Big Gay Dance Party that happened there, which was a lot of fun, and that ended in
the orgy dome.
There was actually some kind of a sex dome. I don't know if anybody actually had sex in there, but there was some kind of like kinky show or something like that went on. But stand by, Pete. I want to hear more about your story here in moments. And this is Free Talk Live, 855-450 free like freedom, 855-450-3733. Businessman shows up in town. Competition physically attacks him. It's Free Talk Live.
In an emergency, you need a fire now. But what if the wood is wet? No problem for InstaFire. Our non-toxic fire starter packs lights wet wood, floats, and can even burn on water or in any weather. Sustains winds up to 30 miles per hour, and each pouch weighs only 1.75 ounces. Need an emergency or camp stove? Get the InstaFire Inferno stove that boils 20 ounces of water in under 3 minutes with controllable heat and temp from 425 to 1500 degrees. Free shipping. Go to instafire.com and use discount code RADIO30 up to 3 times for 30% off your order. InstaFire. Fire in an instant.
With nearly 70 years of history engineering bunkers, today, Atlas Survival Shelters is still the authority. Atlas offers 18 different choices, from commercial tornado shelters to underground nuclear fallout shelters, starting at just $99.99 with 100% financing available, comfortable interiors, and state-of-the-art air filtration systems. Atlas Survival Shelters are the most popular private survival shelters in the world. Call 1-855-4BUNKER now or visit atlassurvivalshelters.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial in toll-free to bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is LRN.FM. It's Ian, Mike, and Mark in the studio here tonight. We're going to get back into your calls and thoughts, and then more about this Roy Moore guy. You remember him from the Ten Commandments controversy down in Alabama from, I don't know, 15 years ago or something like that? Well, he's back in the news again, and, well, he hasn't changed much. By the way, Blink Home Security is one of our newer advertisers here on Free Talk Live. You want to talk about a super easy to install home security system? I've done, been involved in installs of like more complicated security systems with wires, and you got to drill, and it's such a pain in the butt. You got to have a professional come in and install, or you got to know what you're doing when it comes to home installations. With Blink Home Security, there's no wires at all. You just set up the little blinking box, and then you set up the cameras, and you do it all through your Wi-Fi system with your smartphone. Man, it is super easy. Even Mark was able to set it up in about 10 minutes.
Quickly, yeah.
So you go to blinkprotect.com/FTL. You can get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge for one. I presume they're referring to their competition. Blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. As we continue here, we've got Pete on the line in Berlin, New Hampshire. It's a kind of a small town. It's technically organized as a city politically, but it's got only 15,000 people in it. I've never actually been there the whole decade.
I go through it several times a year. Used to do it quite a bit. Our family has a hunting cabin even further north than Berlin.
Is that possible?
Oh, yeah.
Berlin's not even.
There's actually there's a lot of
like 2/3 of the way up the
unincorporated, unpopulated townships way up there. Like Dartmouth College owns a whole township up there called the College Grant. and they log it, and the logging revenues fund their scholarships for Native Americans, and that's even further north. And we have a camp right next door to the college grant, so I've gone through there, Berlin, at least several times a year for fishing and hunting trips. And I remember when I was younger, the river, the Androscoggin River, when they were doing all the logging in the mills, it was really a really nasty industrial.
Really?
The smell for miles and the
in
smoke.
The river. You wouldn't want to be in the river?
Smelly river, orange colored river with foam, just this feet thick foam on it.
Is it like that now that the logging's gone?
It's cleaned up quite a bit. And ecotourism has become a pretty big industry up there.
Gotcha. Well, there's not much industry up in the North Country, and so we're on the line with a guy, Pete, who we've never talked to before. He has been, I guess he brought a business over from Michigan, or launched a business of like dirty apparel, like stuff you would wear while you're mudding or something out in the woods. And apparently there was somebody else in town who already had some kind of apparel shop or manufacturer set up. And this has caused some difficulty for you in town, Pete. You say that somebody actually physically assaulted you at some sort of public event, and you believe that that person was connected with the competition. Now, is that something you have evidence for, or is that just something that you believe to be the case? Do we have Pete? Pete in Berlin? Pete in Berlin going once? Pete in Berlin going twice. Again, maybe his cell phone was in a bad way up there.
I think they need to have a mud wrestling match up there to determine who gets the territory.
Not a bad idea.
Well, it's difficult coming into a new area, and he didn't really seem to be too well connected with the freedom movement. One of the questions I wanted to ask him was, he had said he'd gone to the Porcupine Freedom Festival, that he didn't have a good time. I mean, everybody I know always has a good time.
I've never heard that statement.
At PorcFest. I mean, I understand it's not what it used to be, but if you never were there before, then you don't know what you were missing, and you're probably going to have a good time anyway. Just if you like to be around libertarians, it's a great event to go to. And I say that as somebody who they've banned from the event, okay? Which is why it's like, this guy said that Pete, who was on the line with us, he said that he is no longer associating with Free State Project participants because he didn't like PorcFest. And it's like, that doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, there are certain people who are free staters, which, for those that don't know, is a political migration of libertarian types to move to New Hampshire. Certain free staters don't like me very much. That's fine. That doesn't mean that I'm going to judge every single person who's a Free State Project participant based on the actions of a few who happen to be, let's call them prudes or whatever. They don't like my activism. They don't like civil disobedience. They don't like who I choose to date. I mean, they all kinds of have opinions about me, but some of them do appreciate the activism that I do, and some of them don't care who I want to date, and some of them are, really nice, accepting, good people. I don't see why you would turn away from an entire group based on what some people did.
Having you out here in Keene being a rabble-rouser makes other libertarians look a lot more moderate in Concord. So
that's one way you can look at it. Yeah. I mean, if people were being more positive, they could look at it that way. But some people just like to complain, and that's fine. That's what they do. They can complain on Facebook, and we'll do the real activism in the meantime. So it's just sad to hear somebody blaming, or somebody, again, collectivizing and saying that. Not only was he saying that Berlin is against him, as though everybody in the town is against him. That's probably not true, unless he's a total jerk to everyone that he comes across. And then saying that he's going to kick all the Free Staters to the curb because he didn't have fun at the camping festival. I mean, I don't get it. I wish he was here to respond to it, but
maybe if he calls back, we can get some answers.
We didn't have him. We're going to give one more try here, see if he's in a better cell. Pete, last try. All right, he's gone. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I don't know if he's actually, Mark, you were questioning during the break if this guy's actually a libertarian. Well, because he used the term liberal, although libertarians have defined themselves as classical liberals.
Sure. I just don't think that libertarians generally say, yeah, I'm sort of liberal, libertarian. I mean, like a person who says they're a classical liberal is generally going to say,
and he didn't say classical.
Yeah, I prefer to think of myself as a classical liberal.
You don't mix up the terms liberal and libertarian.
It sounds to me like maybe he's just a businessman who doesn't want to step on toes, and he if he knows that libertarians.
It sounds like he's a long way from that.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously toes have been stepped on here, but I mean, I'm not saying it's right what happened to him. If somebody attacked him at an event unprovoked over just because you're my competitor, I mean, that's ridiculous if that's actually what happened. Now, of course, there's always going to be a second side to every story, or three sides, right? Like there's the two sides and then there's the truth of what actually occurred. So, we probably aren't ever going to find out, and, ultimately it really doesn't matter because it's Berlin and, it's kind of way up there and nobody really pays attention. I wish people would pay attention to what goes on in Berlin. I actually did hear recently that a couple of Free Staters are running for city council up that way. I caught that through the grapevine, which is great news.
I always thought it would be a place ripe for activism because it's sparsely populated. Housing's cheap.
Cheap houses.
And it could definitely use infusion of capital from people coming into the state and helping.
It doesn't sound like they're very terribly interested in that.
Well, I mean, this is sort of a kind of a small town attitude, right? Well, I'm the only clothing manufacturer in town.
Berlin is very heavily ethnically French Canadian.
Really?
So, I would say at least 3/4 of the population.
So there's a lot of French speakers up there.
Oh yes, I've known quite a few since childhood, and they still speak French on the dinner table and that sort of thing in many households.
Maybe you go up there, you can change your last name back.
Don't they have like bilingual signs of "Welcome to New Hampshire" and things like that?
But they have that in the southern portion too.
Oh yeah, okay. So anyway, toll-free number here, if you want to join us tonight, 855-450, free like freedom. Yeah, I'm looking right now at Zillow.com. Here's a house for $32,000. 2 beds, 2 bath, 1,800 square feet. I mean, you want to talk about cheap living. If you've got a job that you can take with you, if you're teleworker or some sort, as long as, and I think they have internet up there, so you can do that kind of work in a town like Berlin, and you'll probably be all right. But if you're gonna try to get some kind of job in an industry up there, you're going to have a tough time.
It actually would be a great place to have a tech incubator, because I know that UNH has made an effort to have a satellite campus up there to get a more easier community access to higher education there, and I think that it could use a bit more work on the private sector side as well to help with that.
Here's a $10,000 house. Wow, more coming up here in moments. 855-450, free like freedom. Free Talk Live.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will. So pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Heart disease is on the rise. Clogged arteries, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol levels may not be fully detected by you, but the symptoms are there. Loss of energy, blood sugar spikes and drops, poor circulation, and irregular heartbeat are just a few of these that can alert you that something is wrong. Hear how Heart and Body Extract is making a difference in thousands of people's lives across America.
My blood pressure has normalized. My diabetes has totally improved.
Everyone is telling me now how much healthier I look, and I'm telling everyone how much healthier I feel. I recommend Heart and Body Extract to everyone.
Anybody over 40 in the North American continent should be using this product as a preventative to keep their cardiovascular system healthy.
Order your 2-month supply today by calling 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. Or order online, hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract, 866-295-5305 or hbextract.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement, and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here toll-free at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733, and our Skype username is lrn.fm. Mark, what's the latest on the fundraiser that is going on for orphans in Jinja, Uganda? You're building a orphanage.
Yep, we got the roof up on the orphanage in Jinja, Uganda, and we're looking to raise money right now for the interior stuff like plaster, wiring, pipes, those sorts of things. And all you have to do is go to hope.freetalklive.com. You can see a whole write-up on the situation. There's 40 kids there about 40 in that general vicinity. And they're sleeping in a terrible sort of one room, no power on the floor, head to toe. And we're trying to make it so that they've got some place to go. We'll get washed up, go to school, that kind of thing. And your dollars are being matched by 2 different companies. So you donate $100, you get, there's $300 towards the project. It's getsell411.com and jax.io. Just go to hope.freetalklive.com and please, participate with us. It's hope.freetalklive.com.
All right, our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. We got somebody else calling in from Berlin, New Hampshire. Robin is on the line. Hello, Robin.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Robin.
I just wanted to clear some air so this doesn't turn.
Okay.
Can't hear you, Robin.
Hung up on me.
I'm sorry.
Dirty girls.
Oh, is this Pete?
Verify that not the entire town is against us.
Okay.
Just a large portion of this competitor's friends and family that are in the government here. She does have quite a few. We checked that and verified that through Facebook.
Okay.
Also, the guy that attacked me did do it for the fact that we are competing against him. And he stated himself that we're putting a big hurt on them. That's not my fault. It's a capitalist society.
Sure.
I'm a businessman. And we've only had our doors open for sales for 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
They've been around for years. If they were doing something right, then maybe they'd be okay. But you can't blame somebody who's been in business for 6 days for the failure of a company that's been around for years. Okay? And I'm not collectivizing all the libertarians as a whole. I'm saying that Pork Fest wasn't for me, and I've had some bad dealings with some of the libertarians up here, the porks, that I thought were kind of shady in a business sense, and I don't do business like that. Like I said, I ran a successful business for 19 years in Michigan, and I was never accused of being shady. that's where I would just lay things out for you.
But if you've said you've had a few, you said you've had some difficult dealings with some people who are supposed Free State Project participants, which isn't an impossibility. I mean, they can't control who shows up and calls themselves a Free Stater. Why would you kick everybody to the curb who's a Free Stater just because you had a bad time with a few of them?
Well, it was just different things that I ran into. Like when I went to Pork Fest. A lot of the people that were speaking there weren't very well educated in the certain things that were really going on. Like one person was talking about the riots up on stage, and a lady stood up and said, different riots that were going on throughout. A lady stood up and asked a question about
where? What riots where?
Let me finish. A lady had stood up and asked a question about, do you think these are paid for, or people are hired to do the rioting? And the speaker hadn't a clue, which everyone knows George Soros is in fact the guy that's out there hiring people to riot. So, just different things like that. And I thought, well, I'm going to kind of distance myself. And then there was a local Free Stater that gave me the runaround in a business deal, and then in fact tried to stab me in the back and say some dirty, rotten things just because we had a bad business deal between us, which was him doing the bad to me. And I just said, you know what? I don't need it, and I don't want you guys trying to twist this into a hit piece by hanging up on me and censoring me.
Nobody hung up on you, dude. Your cell phone apparently went dead. You were still on the line. And so then, since you already had phone problems, when you called back the third time, I decided that we were not going to continue taking your calls tonight. And then you called in and used subterfuge to get past our call screener and violate our one call per night rule. So, I let you go on this one because you sound like you're new to the show. But if you're going to accuse us of doing things we didn't do, I'm sorry, that's going to be the end of the conversation. So thank you for the call tonight. So for future reference, we do have a one call per night rule. And I understand that he didn't know that, so now he knows. And I could understand why maybe some people have been rubbed the wrong way by this guy. I mean, he does seem to put people into groups unnecessarily.
Well, that may be, but he has a good point about having only been open 6 days.
Well, that much is true. Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, nobody should be attacking somebody else.
And there's no way he could have had any negative impact on a business that's been around for a long time. So, he's got a legitimate point.
No doubt about it. I'm not saying that he has any, or that he doesn't have any legitimate points. I can understand why, he jumped to some conclusions, which, if you do that, then you might rub some people the wrong way in a business deal. He jumped to the conclusion in this case that we had hung up on him and we didn't do anything of the sort.
Yeah, it was very spotty cell service.
And if somebody was, I don't know if he was listening to the show, but if he was listening to the show, then he would have known that we didn't hang up on him because we said, hello, are you still there? And we did that on more than one occasion, as a matter of fact, because when I checked in on his call after we'd come back from the break and he wasn't there, I actually put him on hold while we continued to kind of answer some of the things he'd brought up. Then I checked back one final time. So anyway.
What evidence do you have that you're not a gatekeeper for George Soros?
Well, people can believe whatever they want. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. It's open phones any night. I mean, if Pete wants to, or Robin, or whatever his name is, if he wants to call back another night, he's certainly welcome to do so. But if he calls back again tonight, we're just going to have to hang up on him because, again, it's not the Pete show. We don't want it to just be Pete that we're talking to all night long. We have to allow other people to call in and express their opinion. And I do suspect that there's another side to whatever the story is. I mean, Pete's saying he had a bad experience with a so-called Free Stater. That may very well be true, but I bet you that other guy has a side to that story as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's towns in New Hampshire where the good old boy network makes it difficult to start a business.
I know some towns that are very much like that, where one family runs everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
The old families that have been in town for a long time, that kind of thing. So again, I don't think that anybody should be attacking somebody else over their business, and if that's actually what happened, then that's not cool.
Yeah.
But I guess the only thing you can do in that case is to defend yourself and hope that there's some video so you can prove that you're in the right. Because otherwise, it's just going to be he said, she said all over town, and whoever likes Pete/Robin is going to take Pete/Robin's side, and whoever likes the other guy is going to take his side. And unless there's some sort of objective record of the event. It's just one person's word against the others.
Why can't we all just get along?
Why indeed?
Keep calm and wear T-shirts.
Well, I'd love for people to get along, but unfortunately, they just aren't interested in doing that. I mean, not even people within the libertarian movement can get along, as this guy's calls have pointed out. I mean, presumably he believes himself to be part of the liberty movement. Mark, you had thought he was a liberal, but there he was attacking George Soros there a few moments ago.
Now, right?
So, yeah, I mean, we don't know much about this guy. It was the first time that he'd called into the show. I understand he's had a bad time doing it, and, I apologize for any miscommunications that might have gone on. So, anyway.
But we don't control the phone lines.
Well, we do control the phone lines.
Well, only from the
we
studio.
We don't control the cell
out.
phone networks. Yeah, we control who calls and whatever, and we let anybody call into the show about anything whatsoever. What brought this up originally was Joletta Jarvis, who's a candidate for governor here in New Hampshire, had posted online about helping out somebody in need, a libertarian in the North Country, and apparently it was this guy. And then a bunch of other people reported on that same thread that this guy was, let's say, not friendly to some of the libertarians up there, and that's why he hadn't been getting the help that he needed from the libertarians up in the North Country. So, again, there's definitely two sides to every story. And it's not unheard of for somebody to come here as part of the Free State Project and be a total a-hole and, be a dishonorable person.
Not to say he is,
I'm
just
not saying
that happens.
That may have happened to him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, we've had people come to the Keene area, like a decade ago. There was a couple people who came here, and they kind of took advantage of the generosity of many of the early movers who were more than happy to trust anybody who said, I'm a free stater. And then, come on into my home. You can have my couch. Oh, what's that? You're not leaving? Oh, well, then things get a little complicated and awkward. And then there was that one free stater out in Manchester who stole from his roommates and got outed at Porkfest years ago publicly on stage. He ended up leaving town and then getting arrested down in Texas for molesting a teenager, drugging and raping a teenager, allegedly. He's now in prison. So, you never know who's going to show up in a movement where you can't control who shows up. More on the way. Hour number 2 is coming up. Free Talk Live.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-7740. That's 800-610-7740. 800-610-7740.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, October 18th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.92 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,311. Antiwar.com reports a late August U.S.-led raid against a Somali farming village sparked a lot of anger among surviving locals. Now, investigators believe resentment from that raid may have provoked a recent massive bombing attack in the Somali capital of Mogadishu. The Somali government initially claimed everyone killed in the farming village was a terrorist, but provincial officials confirmed almost immediately all of the victims were in fact civilians working in the farming area, some of them children. Moreover, the evidence was they were summarily executed. Somali investigators say that local tribal elders had called for revenge after the killings of the civilians and were particularly mad at the central government for spending so long denying anything had happened. They say it's possible that the Mogadishu attack, which killed over 300, was that revenge. There's been no claim of responsibility for the bombings as of yet, which is unusual if it was carried out by Al-Shabaab, as officials claim. The truck containing explosives was detonated remotely and parked near a fuel truck, which was also detonated. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. UPI reports a federal judge in Hawaii on Tuesday blocked much of the Trump administration's third attempt at a travel ban largely targeting Muslim-majority nations. The judicial order said the United States cannot block entry by people from 6 of the 8 countries: Chad, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen. The travel ban is still in place for some travelers from North Korea and Venezuela. Judge Derek K. Watson said the order plainly discriminates based on nationality, adding it suffers precisely from the same maladies as its predecessors. It lacks sufficient finding that the entry of more than 150 million nationals from 6 specific countries would be detrimental to the interest of the United States. A statement from the White House said the Department of Justice would defend the order. The American Civil Liberties Union and partner organizations in September sued to stop implementation of the order, which was announced on September 24th. U.S. officials said the 8 countries listed in the ban were unable or unwilling to provide information to the United States required to fully vet travelers. Federal judges blocked the first 2 versions of Trump's travel ban, and the Supreme Court was scheduled to hear arguments on the second ban in its new term. The High Court canceled the hearings after a third ban rendered the previous lawsuit moot. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the Chicago Department of Aviation has fired 2 security officials for their roles in the forcible removal of a passenger on a United Airlines flight in April, an incident that provoked international outrage. The firings were included in a report on the incident released on Tuesday by the Chicago Office of the Inspector General. Dr. David Dow, a 69-year-old physician, was hospitalized after aviation officers dragged him from a United Airlines plane to make space for 4 crew members on the flight from Chicago's O'Hare International Airport to Louisville, Kentucky. Videos of Dow being dragged down the aisle of the jet sparked public outcry. The report did not name the officers, but said one escalated a non-threatening situation into a physically violent one and said a second removed facts from one report. In addition to firing the 2 officers, the department issued 5-day suspensions to 2 others. Chicago aviation officials said the firings occurred in August. Service Employees International Union Local 73, which represents the aviation officers, has accused the aviation commissioner, Ginger Evans, of scapegoating the officers to divert attention away from mismanagement. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Researchers have definitively concluded that all of it, is some kind of sick joke. The Princeton study suggests that the entirety of existence, including time, marriage, migratory patterns of birds, continental drift, life itself, photosynthesis, human society, and the changing of the seasons, are all part of a massive, twisted ruse orchestrated by a spiteful cosmos.
Look at you morons, taking this stupid video for your pointless newspaper. Everything's a joke. I'm a joke, you're a joke. The whole universe is a joke.
We at the Onion Week in Review are compelled to inform viewers that while this entire segment is indeed one small part of the giant perverse joke, the upshot is that the next minute of your life will be no more or less pointless than if you were to spend it with a loved one, mentoring an at-risk youth, or simply wallowing in your own feculence. In other news, Harley Davidson and Jack Daniels collaborate on a local felony. A churchgoer blanks on why she's lighting a votive candle, and please ring the bell and the boy will come round momentarily for your bags. For more news, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. You can dial in toll-free to bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. For those of you just tuning in, earlier in the first hour of the show, we were talking about Roy Moore, the infamous Supreme Court of Alabama judge who was in a lot of hot water like 15 years ago, thereabouts, for the Ten Commandments statue or monument that he had placed in the Alabama Supreme Court house or wherever it was. And there was a lot of hubbub about that. I remember, I think we talked about it on the air back, way back in the day here on Free Talk Live. And now Roy Moore's back in the news. By the way, joining you in the studio, it's me, Ian.
Mike Laurie.
And Mark.
And he is not only back in the news because he's running for an Alabama Senate race, he also made a headline because he's spoken out against the protesters within the NFL. So all this kerfluffle about NFL people kneeling during the national anthem, and then there's this boycott, and we've had people calling in bragging about how they're taking part in this boycott. And, great, good for you, man. And if you're going to do something else with your free time, by all means, go for it. Protest whatever you want. But ultimately, I'm glad when I see people protesting the police state and police violence. And I think that is, I believe, what is behind the protests in this case. And a lot of these conservatives who've been calling in, they take all kinds of umbrage at the idea that somebody wouldn't worship this piece of cloth with the stars and bars on it. And it's just, to me, nationalism, which is what we're talking about here, is an idea that needs to end, hopefully sometime in our lifetime. Unfortunately, we're a long way away from people even understanding what nationalism is when they're engaging in it. A lot of people, I don't even think, have a grasp on that.
A lot of them never learn the history of how Francis Bellamy wrote the Pledge of Allegiance.
A Nazi, a Christian socialist.
Well, and his cousin Edward Bellamy wrote a science fiction novel called Looking Backward, which became the inspiration for nationalist socialist parties in over a dozen countries, including the one in Germany that eventually became the National Socialist Workers' Party, or the Nazi Party. And so Nazism originated here in the U.S.
It's true.
With these progressive nationalists who were, and they used this Pledge of Allegiance to distract people. They wanted them to focus on this symbol, this flag.
Sure, and the freedoms.
While they were undermining the Constitution, which Americans should really have any loyalty and allegiance to, because that's the basis of the bulwark protecting our liberty, our natural rights against the encroachment of government.
Well, in theory, but the Constitution doesn't protect anything because it's just words on a piece of paper.
As long as people aren't willing to enforce it, aren't aware of what's happening.
And I have no allegiance to it because I didn't sign it. Yeah. It's not my document. But Rand Paul has now come out and endorsed this Roy Moore character as though to prove to everyone who thinks Rand Paul's a libertarian, for good here, hopefully, that Rand Paul is not a libertarian. Hence, he has endorsed Roy Moore in this upcoming Alabama Senate race. And here's a story from Brian Doherty over at Reason.com. Rand Paul, who, as you know, is a Republican senator from Kentucky, who among other labels he's used for himself includes constitutional conservative, today officially endorsed Republican Alabama Senate candidate and former state Supreme Court Judge Roy Moore, who likes to describe himself that way as well, that is to say, constitutional conservative. Quote, Judge Roy Moore, this is from Rand Paul, Judge Roy Moore has spent a lifetime defending and standing up for the Constitution while fighting for the people of Alabama. We need more people in Washington, D.C. that will stand on principle and defend the Constitution. I look forward to welcoming him to the Senate very soon, Paul said in his endorsement statement.
This is what you run into with a lot of constitutionalists. They can often work with libertarians for mutually beneficial policies, but then you get to their social conservative policies that libertarians generally don't agree with, and then
everything goes haywire.
Yeah, like this guy wants to put people in jail because he believes it was a violation of the U.S. Code to kneel during a national anthem.
He didn't say that.
That is what he said.
No?
He didn't say he wanted to put him in jail, but he said it's a violation of the U.S. Code, and that is a lie.
No.
Yes, it is, because when we were reading the code, Mike here pointed out that it says Americans should turn towards the flag and that they should place their hands over their hearts.
Right.
That is not a proscription. Is not a shall. It is not a must.
Recommendation.
It is a suggestion as to how to behave.
How do you
in that time frame?
Tell me a better term than violation for going against the recommendation that is codified in law.
If you don't violate the statutes, then you don't violate the statutes.
Right.
If it says should, you are not violating it by not doing it.
Yeah, if the statute says you must, then
it's a violation.
That's a violation.
So,
if it's just say
and
should,
as a Supreme Court justice, he should know the difference. And the fact that he doesn't, or the fact that he's acting like he doesn't, again, this guy's just another scum-sucking politician. And your buddy Rand Paul here is backing them. But that's not all. Any libertarian, says Doherty, should be appalled by Moore for reasons detailed further here, and also by Paul endorsing him. On the one hand, Republican
He says
Senator,
Paul endorsing him?
Huh?
He said
Paul has endorsed him. Yeah.
Did Brian
That's what
Doherty,
I just read,
the author, say and for Paul for endorsing him? Is that right?
Correct. Yes. Okay. On one hand, Republican senator endorses another Republican senator isn't huge news. But if ever there were a would-be colleague of someone who is even slight libertarian tendencies should be leery of, it's Roy Moore. Shika Damya wrote earlier this month about some of the other things Moore has spent his lifetime doing, adding up to a highly theocratic vision that she analogized to Saudi Arabia, despite Moore's paranoid belief that Sharia law exists in part of America, including, quote, that he is the author of the misnamed 2005 Constitution Restoration Act that would give Congress the power to remove any judge who refuses to recognize God as the source of America's law. The bill also seeks to limit the power of the Supreme Court to overrule or punish any state official or judge acting in the name of God's law, and instead would impeach the judges who take on such cases.
That sounds like Sharia to me.
Yeah. Except Sharia is just, supposed to be a private system for Muslims. This guy wants to impose his views on everybody. Nearly all of Moore's conservative backers, whether ethno-nationalists like Steve Bannon and Sebastian Gorka, or nativist rabble-rouser Ann Coulter, or Christian Reconstructionist Mike Huckabee, want to create a fortress America and cut off the outside world, exactly the kind of medieval social vision that Saudi Arabia, thanks to the influence of hardline Wahhabi clerics not dissimilar to Moore, embraced 3 decades ago, unquote. Now, Doherty says on what Paul partisans might consider the other hand, there is a lot about Moore, as discussed on his campaign website issue page, where he seems more in line with Paul. So he claims to be for lower taxes,
There are a
smaller
lot
government.
of comparisons between ultra-conservatives, which is what I would call Moore here, and libertarians, sadly. What do
you mean there are
You're going to have
comparisons?
overlap. I mean,
there's overlap.
Just as there's overlap between left libertarians and liberals, you're going to have overlap between conservatives and right-leaning libertarians.
That's true. But you don't, if you're a libertarian, and Rand Paul's not, which is the point of all this, if you're a libertarian, you don't go around endorsing left liberals and right-wing conservatives because they're not libertarians. Even on pure economic policy, though, more is terrible, says Doherty, on government-managed energy policy to wean off of so-called foreign oil and against trade deals for protectionist, not purist free trader reasons. He's also an immigration restrictionist, surprise, surprise, willing to see government money wasted on a pointless border wall. Then there's the stuff Moore seems to consider really important.
Okay.
In a 2002 Alabama Supreme Court case, the would-be senator declared that, quote, homosexual conduct is and has been considered abhorrent, immoral, detestable, a crime against nature, and a violation of the laws of nature and of nature's God upon which this nation and our laws are predicated. Such conduct violates both the criminal and civil laws of this state and is destructive to a basic building block of society, the family.
That doesn't surprise me. Of
course not.
Christian
He's not a libertarian.
Christian conservative types are in this country. They're just obsessed with sex.
Those types, I tend to call them Christian Taliban.
This is the kind of guy who probably fantasizes about, or like, remember that Christian Ted Haggard, the megachurch guy who got caught having sex with male prostitutes and doing crank with them? That's probably what Roy Moore does in his spare time, secretly. 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We got a little more about his endorsement by Rand Paul. Coming up, it's Free Talk Live.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app, and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free and bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Of course, you can bring up anything that you want to discuss. It's Ian, Mike, and Mark in the studio. We're going back to your calls here in a moment, but I do want to let you know about how you can help build a better financial system for everyone. You can join Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy, fees are low, and transactions are quick and can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar, and Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today and find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash. Right now, go to Dash.org and find out why. Mark, is there some fresh news you wanted to share from Dash Force News?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was just over there, and they gave some advice on the Dash budget proposals. You remember this is how Free Talk Live gets its funding for Dash. And anybody can go there and make a proposal to the Dash network, and if it's something that the master nodes feel is important enough to spend some money on, they'll send you some money. And so a lot of people have been very successful. So there's a little guide there on how to evaluate Dash budget proposals.
They've funded a lot of really good projects through that, and not just charitable projects, but even some startup projects and that are beneficial to the Liberty community.
It's been, I think, a real smart move for the Dashers to have that system set up. Now, I would argue they need to lower the bar as far as what it costs to throw a proposal in, because it's like $5 apparently. And when we put our proposal in, it was like earlier this year, back when it was $40 per Dash.
Yeah.
And that's not an unreachable goal.
It's $200.
Now we're talking about, what, $300 for a Dash? So now you're looking at $1,500 to put a proposal. And it's definitely going to whittle down all but the most serious options, but I don't know. I think it's a little high.
If you want to have,
I guess you'd have to propose to reduce the proposal amount or something.
I don't know that can be done through the budget proposal, but
yeah, I don't know either.
You can go to any of the sort of marketing organizations that work with them and then sort of piggyback. So let's say you have a little thing. I don't know, what comes to mind is suppose you're a quote-unquote professional jiu-jitsu guy, and you want to put a Dash emblem on your gi, and you want, $200 a month to do that. Mm-hmm. At the price of $2,400, the $1,500 price tag doesn't seem worth it. But you could come to Free Talk Live or Dash Force News or any variety of people who get their money and then sort of piggyback your proposal on top of that.
That sounds like earmarking.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Anyway, check out Dash.org. It got an interesting governance system set up, and it does allow them to do some really unique stuff that I don't think most of the other cryptos can do. So again, let's continue here with your calls and your thoughts. Let's go to Spengler on the line calling from the Firehouse. He's on the amp lines. Hello, Spengler.
Gentlemen, good evening. Just wanted to call real quick and talk about one of my favorite, libertarian-esque books. It's called The Anatomy of the State. I absolutely love this book. It's a very, very, I wouldn't even call it a book, maybe an essay. In fact, I think that's what it is.
Who wrote that
one? About 24 pages, but I'm sorry.
Who wrote that one?
That's Murray Rothbard.
Okay. That's what I thought.
That's available
one of the
on
most fantastic books that a libertarian or so-called libertarian can read. Also, kind of pointing out the different options that are out there. There is the philosophy of liberty, which is a really highly recommended YouTube video. I think it's been distributed hundreds of times in different formats. But I just want to kind of call out, and I realize that the Reddit libertarian sub is not the center of the libertarian universe, but if you've taken any time to go there recently, you'll know that it's pretty much in shambles. It's anything but libertarian, and I think it's important for so-called libertarians to kind of go back to the roots and really understand some of the foundational principles, such as the philosophy of liberty.
Yeah, I've found that places there's a group on Facebook called The New Libertarian, and if new is a word for libertarian, everything new about libertarianism stinks. I just watched the most unprincipled conversations going on in this group, and a principled stand.
Which group is this?
Called The New Libertarian.
Oh, okay. Because most of these groups are garbage. I mean, the Facebook groups are basically just loaded up with trolls, and it's a total waste of people's time.
Yeah, you really want to be in a well-curated group, because otherwise it just gets filled up with status.
Yeah, well, groups are hard to curate because, the Facebook platform doesn't allow anybody to really use any useful moderation tools.
Oh, no, I run the Techno-Libertarians group, which is about 4,500 people. And, we have a couple questions that people want to join, whether they agree with the core principles of libertarianism and so forth. And, I'll look at their profile. If I see a lot of, Bernie bro type groups and, I love George Soros or, things like that, then, I'm going to, wonder where they're really leaning and so forth.
But they could just be a libertarian in those groups to troll.
They could be.
Right?
They could be. But, if you want to have a well-run group, you want to look at people to see whether they're trolls or whether they're actually contributors and have meaningful things to say.
So is there more you
one
wanted to
last
share?
thing to point out, too, one of my favorite parts of the Anatomy of the State is literally in the first page. Talks about what the state is not, and it talks about how people make this assumption that we, quote unquote, are the government. And I know, Ian, you're pretty good stickler on that, and I think I wish more people would be. I think that's the single most thing that's creating a lot of the worship, the state worship, things that you're seeing in the NFL. This notion that people are their government. They may be, commonly located in a geography, and there's some benefit to working together in that respect. But to think that you are the politicians or the politicians are you is ludicrous.
Whether the politicians care about you.
Why would you want to be the politicians? Those people are despicable. But yeah, I agree with you. I think one of the best things that we can do to counter that, I mean, besides bringing it up whenever somebody uses the collectivism and saying, whoa, we are not in Iraq, I am not there, and I don't think you are either, or whatever. Usually we hear it when we hear the term we utilized. It's like
so we attack them.
The government doing some sort of thing in the Middle East. But yeah, it's good to just kind of break that. I think it's somewhat iconoclastic to say, oh, whoa, who's we? And, get them to stop down and think about that. But the more people encounter that kind of a conversation, I think the better off they're going to be. But in order to have that kind of level of penetration of the libertarian ideas, we got to have a mass movement. We got to have, libertarianism has to become popular. And right now, it's nowhere even close to being popular. But here in New Hampshire, at least, we do have a chance. We are getting more media coverage. And when I say we, I mean libertarians in New Hampshire are getting more media coverage here on a monthly basis than the rest of the liberty movement gets in a year. Pretty much everywhere else. So I would highly recommend getting out of your firehouse, Spengler, and getting some of you and your libertarian buddies up to New Hampshire where we can actually make a difference. Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll free, because reading books is great, and there's no doubt people need recommendations as far as what to read or what to watch. But once you understand liberty, if you want to be effective, you need to be with other libertarians
take action
in New Hampshire. More coming up.
To work together.
ProPure water filters, most trusted, most tested. Right now, you can save 25% on the ProPure Nomad gravity system. Visit an authorized ProPure dealer for details. That's PROPUR.
Advertising your business with GCN is simple, effective, and more affordable than you might think. Visit advertise.gcnlive.com for more info. Take your business to the next level. That's advertise.gcnlive.com.
Actual testimonials from real Numana customers.
I've tried all kinds of food storage, and Numana is by far the best.
I'm a single mom with 2 teenage boys and a full-time job. I don't always have time to cook a 4-course meal. That's where Numana has been such a blessing. I can spend less time in the kitchen and more time on what matters most, like helping with homework.
Find out for yourself. Order online at thepowermall.com. That's thepowermall.com. Numana is
food stores I love to eat. Yum!
Thepowermall.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those 2 tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free. Bring up anything you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username here is LRN.FM. Joining you tonight, you've got Ian.
Mike.
And Mark.
And also want to let you know about how you can get a big discount off of your web hosting over at HostGator. You go to HostGator.com/FTL, and then you'll get 50% off of their regular prices. If you have been listening for a while, you know that HostGator makes it super easy. They've got a simple one-click easy installation for WordPress and 24/7 over the phone or live chat tech support, as well as a very intuitive and user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation and the simplicity of use into your hands. So go to HostGator.com/FTL. They have a 99.99% uptime rating, so you don't have to worry about outages. So again, that's HostGator.com/FTL. You'll save 50% right there. As we continue with your calls and thoughts, we go to Skype. where I believe Liberty Phoenix is on the line. Hello, Phoenix.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you guys doing tonight?
Hey, what's on your mind, dude?
So the purpose that I'm calling tonight, Ian, is probably mainly focused at you. What I've been doing lately is trying to program a 24/7 liberty-oriented radio station based around music and so forth.
Yeah, you mentioned that before, right?
The platform that I've been using doesn't really allow me to pull RSS feeds and streams directly and put them into my programming blocks. I was wondering if you knew of a method or a product that allows you to actually pull streams and then broadcast that out.
You're talking about a pretty technical question. It really doesn't. I don't think is going to be appropriate for on air. I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. There are ways to combine different softwares together to make things possible. I can't recommend anything particularly over the airwaves, but you're welcome to reach out to me any old time, and we can talk about that. Was there something you wanted to talk about that might be a little more relevant to our national audience?
That's about it.
Okay. Hey, thanks for the call tonight. Best of luck with your station. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
I like that he's doing it.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, we can make book recommendations for libertarians and, movie recommendations, but, getting into software details is probably not right for a national radio show. But I appreciate the thoughts. Anyway, if you want to hear LRN.FM, where we do have on-air 24/7 liberty-oriented talk content, you're welcome to drop into LRN.FM. Check out our live streams there. Not only is Free Talk Live heard, but dozens of other great liberty-oriented talk shows are there. And it's not easy to fill 24 hours of libertarian talk, let alone 24 hours of libertarian music. I can't imagine how difficult programming that might be. Maybe it's easier than I think. I mean, I'm not a music
I kind of think we prefer talking over singing a lot more, Well,
of course, that's what we're here. That's what we're here doing. However, that said, Mike, it's definitely true that music is kind of like this universal language that can unite people behind something in a way that the human voice just talking will never do. I mean, that's why, talk radio isn't the majority format in radio, right? Like
it
music
has been the
radio.
top grosser and the #1 format.
It has been.
But if you compare music to talk, music just dominates. If you compare country music to talk, which is the one that is always going back and forth.
Country
It's
generally
either country
beats
or talk, which is the #1 format.
The only time talk is #1 is typically during election seasons.
But if you hold on, now another thing is they never take news talk and combine it with sports talk to get their talk, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, sports talk stations generally don't rank very high anywhere.
No, but if that little extra edge,
it might
bump them up over. Oftentimes it would bump them up over,
maybe
country. So it's
the revenue's always good on talk, though. Talk's always #1 for revenue, I think.
Yeah.
But regardless, like you said, if you combine all the music together, then it's like talk's like what 5% or something like that.
It doesn't even compare.
Nothing. So, I mean, we love it. We love talk radio. That's what we're doing. But the reality is it will never attract a majority of viewpoints, which is why it's always so funny when you hear talk show hosts patting themselves on the back for like influencing elections or something like that. It's sorry, most people don't even know who you people are. I mean, we're a small-time talk show compared to people like Rush Limbaugh or, Laura Ingraham or some of these others. But if you ask normal people about, who talk show hosts are, they have no idea.
Right.
They might have heard of Howard Stern.
Well,
maybe.
So they've usually heard of
maybe Rush
Limbaugh. Sean
Not
Hannity?
even usually. Not even usually. A lot of people, at least millennials. No, dude. A lot of people have no idea.
That's not people.
Yes, it is. And a lot of people don't.
Millennials
not to say that millennials
are
not people.
Millennials are very different as a demographic from the older generations, just because they're so unplugged. And
agreed.
You get they're very much online, and whereas the older generation is really focused on traditional media. So you're going to get that big shift in the behavior of the different demographics.
Yeah, still, it wouldn't surprise me.
I haven't met very many people that don't know who Rush Limbaugh is. I'm sorry.
I get what you're saying.
It may be a different in our demographics.
Yeah, it may very well be.
Us.
But I guarantee you, Mark, you can ask people your age range, and if they know anybody besides Rush, if they aren't talk radio listeners, they will not know.
Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, and then it sort of falls apart there.
Yeah, but let them try to think of them on their own. You might be you don't name them for them. You just ask them what are some national talk show hosts, and I guarantee you, if they are not talk radio, again, if they listen to talk radio, that doesn't count. We're talking about people who are music radio listeners who don't, watch and listen to the news. They don't watch Fox News. They don't watch MSNBC. And of course, the people that you know, Mark, are more likely to do those things, right? Because you're in sort of a political realm. You are connected with people who are more interested in politics. They're more likely to listen to NPR, watch Fox, things like that. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who read People magazine, the people who, read, entertainment, and not that people read magazines anymore, but, the people who are obsessed with Hollywood, the people who could tell you all about the NFL or, all about their favorite sports team and all about their favorite Hollywood superstars or Harvey Weinstein or whatever, but they don't know anything at all about who talk show hosts are. I'm just saying. That's all it is.
Well, they don't know who their congressperson is either.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you who my congresspeople are. I think Maggie Hassan's one of them, and then there's another one, right? There's two.
Yeah,
Shaheen,
Maggie's a senator, and oh, geez, I'm even blanking on the
Shea Porter.
These are not like
Shea Porter was in there at one point.
It's not embarrassing, really. I mean, these are people who have no relevance to our lives whatsoever on a day-to-day basis. They're just doing what they do in Washington, D.C., and whether it's them or somebody else, they're all going to be doing the same thing, which is to say making the government bigger and more intrusive in our lives. And even those of us who should know these things, we don't necessarily know them. So the average people, of course, have no clue. Anyway, speaking of scum-sucking politicians, we were talking about Roy Moore, who is this theocrat who hates gay people. He says it is abhorrent, what he calls homosexual conduct. This was a statement from him in an Alabama Supreme Court case in 2002. He calls it immoral, detestable, a crime against nature, and a violation of the laws of nature. So he wants to use the government and the violence and the force of the state to enforce his belief system about how evil homosexuals are. He claims that they violate criminal and civil laws of the state of Alabama, and further that they are destructive to the basic building block of society, the family. And of course, by the family, he means a man and a woman together with children, not, let's say, two men together or two women who could very well raise fine children, and many of them have. So, this guy, I don't know if he's ever even talked to a gay couple or, has bothered to even have as much of a few kind words with them, but he doesn't sound like a very kind character at all. So, as Brian Doherty over at Reason.com points out, so even granted any agreements that he might have with libertarians on taxes, spending, and health care, one might think rampant theocratic rejection of the rights of Americans of a certain religion to serve in Congress or of a certain sexual orientation to marry, adopt, or walk the earth as free men and women might tip the balance against Moore to those respecting either the Constitution or just plain old American liberty. We'll tell you more about this person here in moments. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Oh, and I was just going to guess, and my guess was correct, when they were referencing who he doesn't want to see in Congress based on their religion. It was a Muslim. There's more coming up here in moments. 855-450-FREE like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Dr. Carolyn Dean wants you to have a free chapter of her new book, The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition, and it's available at magmiracle.com. In your free chapter, Dr. Carolyn Dean explains how magnesium is essential to support the structure and function and overall health of your body. Your free chapter is your guide to learn how to support your heart, bone, metabolic, lung, and mental health with this powerful mineral. The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition is available on Amazon, but right now get a free chapter at magmiracle.com, spelled M-A-G, miracle.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. If you like what we do here at Free Talk Live, you can get signed up for our email newsletter. Just go to freetalklive.com. There's a email sign-up box there in the middle front page of the site. Go check it out. Get signed up. It's free, of course, over at freetalklive.com. Joining you here tonight, it's Ian,
Mike,
and Mark.
We've been talking about the, for some people, disappointing, for others, not surprising, endorsement of this Judge Roy Moore, who is now running for, I guess, former judge, now suspended apparently, but judge in Alabama, who made headlines years ago for having the Ten Commandments illegally in his courthouse. He ended up, I think, making a stand over that and ultimately losing his position over it regarding, the federal government came in on him. But he is, continued to be a theocrat in that he wants to use the government to enforce his particular brand of Christianity on all the rest of the country, even going so far as to say that a man who was elected in 2006 as the very first Muslim in Congress, even going in a lengthy WorldNet Daily article back then, claiming that Congress should prohibit Ellison, that was the man's name at the time, from taking the congressional oath. Presumably, they didn't go ahead and take his advice in that particular case, but this is the first I've heard about it. So we're kind of updating you on Judge Roy Moore. There's a little bit more here from the story over at Reason.com, where they point out that Moore was actually suspended again from Alabama's Supreme Court when he re-won the position last year he maybe re-won it prior to last year, but he was suspended last year for defying a federal court order regarding the overturning of Alabama's laws against same-sex marriage. Quote, nearly any candidate running for office that isn't named Paul will likely give some aspect of Rand's folks heartburn, a political observer close to Paul noted today via email. Again, Rand Paul endorsed Roy Moore. Moore's positives from Paul's perspective likely include anti-establishment and not beholden to anyone, focus on the Constitution, would have voted with Rand on fake Obamacare repeals, has said foreign aid is unconstitutional, wants Congress to exert its authority on war issues, unquote. The Observer notes that Paul doesn't seem to, quote, believe there is one conditional libertarian position on immigration, life, and gay rights. Unquote. While the latter is true, Moore's attitudes towards homosexual citizens goes far beyond merely not wanting them to have special rights. Moore, as he declared from the bench in that 2002 case, believes all American homosexuals who have a sex life in line with their preferences are, for that very reason, criminals. The Paul endorsement is a depressing sign of how much personal liberty America's political class, even the supposedly freedom-oriented ones, are willing to give up in exchange for lip service to tax cuts. Paul's office had not responded for a request for comment on libertarian misgivings over Moore as of press time. But look, all this is to just simply let people like you, Mark, know that Rand Paul is not, I repeat, is not a libertarian. Rand Paul himself has said it crystal clear that he is a conservative or a constitutional conservative, but he has specifically said he's not a libertarian. It's time to end the fantasy now. You've got Rand Paul coming out endorsing a theocratic sicko here who wants to engage in a domestic war against gay people from his positions of power. He's endorsed this man, and there's no excuse for it if Rand Paul were a libertarian, but he's not. He's a conservative, so just finally admit it, okay?
Well, hold on. So I think that Mr. Doherty said it far better than you. And that
that's why I read his article.
Right, he did. And I'm just,
because he actually researched it and found plenty of evidence against this scum, Roy Moore. Now, what are you going to try to say here?
What I'm trying to say is that, libertarians have sadly throughout history been willing to bend over backwards to accommodate people who are willing to give them tax cuts, right?
What are you talking about?
Read the last sentence or two by Brian Doherty out of your article there, and
he's talking about the politicians like Rand Paul,
right?
But Rand Paul doesn't claim to be a libertarian. It's people like you who claim that he's a libertarian.
So, are you? Would you say that I am bending over backwards in order to?
Yeah, you're really making yourself into a pretzel over defending Rand Paul, trying to claim he's a libertarian.
So, why can you not give that deference to Rand Paul and say that he is,
because he's not a libertarian.
Right. So am I not a libertarian?
It depends.
Okay.
I think you're more libertarian than Rand Paul.
Great.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh, right now.
I'm not going to have the conversation at this point because
are you going to endorse Roy Moore?
No.
Then you're more libertarian than Rand Paul.
Well, but you can call me a libertarian and say I'm bending over backwards to endorse
I think
Rand
you're most
Paul.
of the time libertarian, but sometimes your fascist tendencies come out. It's really disgusting when that happens.
Right. Sometimes I disagree with
I
you.
call you out on it when that happens.
I think that very few people can be absolutely perfectly on principle all the time. And I think that libertarian. Not all libertarians are 100 by 100.
I don't expect Rand Paul to be on principle. Yeah. He's not a libertarian.
But you see,
he says so himself.
The point I'm trying to make is
admit it.
You are trying to say that you'll say that I'm a libertarian and I'm bending over backwards to endorse Rand Paul. However, you won't give Rand Paul the same.
Just
deference.
admit that he's not a libertarian, man. That's all you got to do. Just be honest.
Well, I agree with that because he has said that he is.
You agree he's not a libertarian?
He's not a libertarian. Right. He's a constitutionalist.
Yeah, let the man be what he wants to be, Mark. Stop trying to put him into boxes he's not wanting to be in.
As we've said, constitutionalists and libertarians do share some commonality on some policies.
Sure, libertarians share commonalities with socialists on some policies.
I'd go so far as to say the Constitution was a pretty sort of a very small government, therefore libertarian, big tent libertarian document. It's just been, twisted over the years. And if
no, it's not a libertarian document. By definition, a libertarian is one who adheres to the non-aggression principle. And if you have a government, you are not adhering to the non-aggression principle.
And there's a problem with constitutionalists claiming to only support the Constitution when they're supporting more than the Constitution. They want
like a theocratic dictatorship.
They want to bring the Bible into as an equal legal document.
Yeah, and enforce the Bible on other people by the threat of violence, which of course is, as you pointed out, very much like enforcing any other sort of religious dogma on people. So just, it's fine, man. If you want to support Rand Paul, that's your business. But just don't call the guy a libertarian, because he's not. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And then you get garbage like this because of this, kind of big tent stuff here in the libertarian movement. The so-called liberty conservative, which, should be a contradiction in terms there on its own, is publishing a story about what they call the dawning of Roy Moore libertarianism.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
This is what you get, Mark, for watering down the pool.
Look up nationalist libertarians. That's even more amusing.
Ever since Ron Paul retired from public life in 2012, libertarians have been completely rudderless, says Shane Trejo, who is writing this article. Maybe that's true for libertarians outside of New Hampshire, but here in New Hampshire, we're doing great.
The rudder's fine.
Yep, everything's good.
Well,
the rudder's fine.
Yeah.
Water's fine.
Other states, it's gone rudderless because libertarians have lost their fourth Thursday night poker partner because they've moved to New Hampshire.
That's true. There's been a libertarian brain drain around the rest of the country as libertarians with, sense for how to win are moving to New Hampshire, because if you want to have a chance at actually, getting some political successes, maybe you should go where the largest concentration of libertarians is. Anyway, as much as libertarians, they claim here, might like to delude themselves that they do not need leaders, it has become abundantly clear that they need them as much as anyone. And I agree with them on that point. I would love to have a movement of thousands and thousands or hundreds of thousands or whatever individual leaders within the liberty movement. But the fact is, people are people, and a lot of people just want to join something. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to just kind of plug into an existing system or an existing movement or an existing organization, find a role that you're comfortable with, and just help that existing group do something. That's nothing wrong with that.
Not everybody takes the initiative and is an organizer, and some people are team
Not everybody
players.
wants to be either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's additional responsibility. It's additional frustrations. It's additional stress to try to organize things, to be the instigator, to be the board of directors, the people who start something, and it's just human nature that some people are going to lead and others are going to follow. And that's not to say that the followers always have to be followers. They can, a lot of times what'll turn a follower into a leader is frustration with the existing leaders, right? So it's like, hey, where's this guy taking us? I'm going to go this way instead. And then they cut off on their own, and you have a schism.
Can I go with you? And then he's got his own movement.
Right. So, and then, unfortunately, some of the followers fight each other over, and the leaders in some cases fight each other over the direction they should go. And it's just like, stop fighting. Just go in your own direction and do your own thing. Not everybody understands that, though. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, but that's why we have Facebook, so those people can be completely ineffective and
argue with
complain
each other
all the time. 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. But what is Roy Moore libertarianism? We'll see if this person defines it coming up here in moments. Sounds scary.
You're fired. According to the Small Business Administration, 75% of small businesses plan to eliminate jobs or reduce workers' hours to part-time. You're fired. According to Gallup, the unemployment rate recently jumped to nearly 9%, and the underemployment rate hit a staggering 17.9%. You're fired. 1 out of 3 young adults and 1 out of 2 recent college graduates are underemployed. Hello, I'm Keith Abel, a pharmacist and a home business entrepreneur. In 2011, I became one of those statistics myself. Instead of looking for another job in corporate America, I joined Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. We're creating steady incomes for ourselves and would like to show you how to do the same. If you want to supplement your current income, replace your income, so you don't have to become one of the statistics, then give me a call toll-free at 866-257-3105, 866-257-3105.
You're fired.
Don't wait till you hear those words. Start creating an extra income today. 866-257-3105.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, October 18th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.92 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,311. Antiwar.com reports a late August U.S.-led raid against a Somali farming village sparked a lot of anger among surviving locals. Now investigators believe resentment from that raid may have provoked a recent massive bombing attack in the Somali capital of Mogadishu. The Somali government initially claimed everyone killed in the farming village was a terrorist, but provincial officials confirmed almost immediately all of the victims were in fact civilians working in the farming area, some of them children. Moreover, the evidence was they were summarily executed. Somali investigators say that local tribal elders had called for revenge after the killings of the civilians and were particularly mad at the central government for spending so long denying anything had happened. They say it's possible that the Mogadishu attack, which killed over 300, was that revenge. There's been no claim of responsibility for the bombings as of yet, which is unusual if it was carried out by Al-Shabaab, as officials claim. The truck containing explosives was detonated remotely and parked near a fuel truck, which was also detonated. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. UPI reports a federal judge in Hawaii on Tuesday blocked much of the Trump administration's third attempt at a travel ban largely targeting Muslim-majority nations. The judicial order said the United States cannot block entry by people from 6 of the 8 countries: Chad, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen. The travel ban is still in place for some travelers from North Korea and Venezuela. Judge Derek K. Watson said the order plainly discriminates based on nationality, adding it suffers precisely from the same maladies as its predecessors. It lacks sufficient finding that the entry of more than 150 million nationals from 6 specific countries would be detrimental to the interest of the United States. A statement from the White House said the Department of Justice would defend the order. The American Civil Liberties Union and partner organizations in September sued to stop implementation of the order, which was announced on September 24th. U.S. officials said the 8 countries listed in the ban were unable or unwilling to provide information to the United States required to fully vet travelers. Federal judges blocked the first 2 versions of Trump's travel ban, and the Supreme Court was scheduled to hear arguments on the second ban in its new term. The High Court canceled the hearings after a third ban rendered the previous lawsuit moot. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the Chicago Department of Aviation has fired 2 security officials for their roles in the forcible removal of a passenger on a United Airlines flight in April, an incident that provoked international outrage. The firings were included in a report on the incident released on Tuesday by the Chicago Office of the Inspector General. Dr. David Dow, a 69-year-old physician, was hospitalized after aviation officers dragged him from a United Airlines plane to make space for 4 crew members on the flight from Chicago's O'Hare International Airport to Louisville, Kentucky. Videos of Dow being dragged down the aisle of the jet sparked public outcry. The report did not name the officers, but said one escalated a non-threatening situation into a physically violent one and said a second removed facts from one report. In addition to firing the 2 officers, the department issued 5-day suspensions to 2 others. Chicago aviation officials said the firings occurred in August. Service Employees International Union Local 73, which represents the aviation officers, has accused the aviation commissioner, Ginger Evans, of scapegoating the officers to divert attention away from mismanagement. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
People love photography. But when we thought about photography, we realized one thing. Humans are limited to looking at photos with our eyes. That's a problem, right? So we made an app, PicSong, the first program that turns your photos into music if you want to do that for some reason. It puts the power in your hands. You get to decide why you need this. I can't tell you why you need this. It's not my job. Who is this app for? Maybe it's for students, or artists, or blind people. But can it turn your music into photos? No, it can't. Do you get to keep the original photo? No, it gets deleted. Always back up your photos before using PicSong.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You are invited to join us here toll free. Russia has apparently issued, or is going to issue, its own cryptocurrency. Mike's going to tell us about that here tonight. You can share your thoughts with us at 855-450-FREE. It's Ian, Mike, and Mark in the studio. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts to get things started here this hour. First up, he's Ralph in New Jersey. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ralph.
You know, during the press conference of President Trump, he mentioned about going to the Philippines comes November, and it brings delight to my heart.
Oh, really?
For him to visit that country. But that being said,
so he's going to meet up with President Rodrigo Duterte, who is basically the Trump of the Philippines.
Who's doing a wonderful job right now.
You mean killing innocent, peaceful drug users in the streets?
There you go. And blacks are killing. They are killing blacks in America, according to him, which I will not dispute.
According to who?
But to President Duterte. Okay. But that being said, I always believe that this whole situation with the NFL is driven by white guilt, and then this commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell, who is from this area, by the way, New York.
He's from Jersey.
New York and New Jersey, because the NFL offices is in New York City. Okay. This one is kind of like wishy-washy on where you really stand on the issue. Okay, talking about our community, whatever happened to the people who support the NFL?
Well, apparently, a lot of them stopped supporting the NFL. They've called the show, and they're putting on some kind of a boycott.
And the ratings have been plummeting.
Have they really?
Oh, yeah.
They're down.
Right.
They're down like 30%.
And you know something? I joined with that boycott because any NFL merchandise, I wouldn't buy them.
Okay.
There's one that I find really interesting. It's a game called, electric football. It's,
Electric football?
That's right. Electric football.
That's the name. Is this a video game?
It's not really a video game. It's kind of like a board game.
There's a board game, a football board game.
When I was a kid, they had something they called electric football, and it was just a vibrating mat that moved around the pieces.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do with it?
You set the guys up, and then they do things?
There's like a little foam football that one of the little guys carries, and he runs until the other guys run into him and knock him over, and then you start a new play.
But it's just the vibrating mat, so it's all random?
Yeah.
So there's no actual game to it then? There's no skill involved?
Yeah.
You could technically call it, if you put money on it, you could call it gambling.
Okay, yes, that would be a game if you put money on it, I suppose. Okay. What about it, Ralph? What about electric football?
Well, any of the NFL merchandise, I would join in the boycott by not buying anything. If it went from $50.
Now, how many NFL hats or merchandise did you buy last year?
Actually, if you go in the garage sale,
no, it doesn't count.
Like
if you go to garage sale, you're not as
you pay next to nothing.
You're not
pay next to nothing.
You're not really supporting the team.
That's a yard sale patriot there.
See, all I'm saying here, Ralph, is that you're not really joining a boycott if you never go there in the first place, are you?
I don't attend any game. I don't go to any game, if you ask me. And this.
I don't know. What is it true? I don't know. Is if you've never been to a place before and you never had an intention to go there, are you really a boycotter?
I can't see. You're not a relevant
I don't
one.
watch.
Right.
I don't watch any television coverage. So the game.
I don't watch any TV. Period. But that doesn't mean I'm necessarily part of a boycott.
Right. But
it's a permanent boycott.
Regarding this, persona non grata, not identifica Fernie. Okay,
who set
Kaepernick. Who set up this whole firestorm? This man really has nothing to prove. He's a ghetto tag.
He's a what?
A black and a ghetto tag.
A what?
Ghetto something.
Ghetto tag.
Ghetto tug? Thug.
Ghetto
thug.
Right.
That's right.
He was brought up by a white family. What is? Yeah, that's hardly a ghetto thug.
You're allowed to say thug. You're not allowed to say the N-word, right?
He grew up in a middle class suburban white family.
Did he?
Yeah.
Thanks for the call,
He's a ghetto
Ralph.
thug.
I appreciate it, I think. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, I've always wondered that. Like, I've never eaten at the restaurant Margaritas here in Keene, which is kind of a regional Mexican, let me put quotes around, Mexican restaurant chain. They supported the smoking ban here in New Hampshire, which was one of the things that happened like basically right after we moved here, Mark, back in 2006 or right before or right around that time. And Margaritas was one of the corporate sort of supporters of that smoking ban. And I remember saying, well, if they're going to support the smoking ban, openly at least, I'm not going to be eating there. There are other places for me to eat. I'm not going to eat at Margaritas. But I'd never eaten there before. Although that said, I probably would have eaten there had it not been for the smoking ban at some point, right? Like, because I've had people say to me, hey, let's go to Margaritas, and I've said, no, I don't eat there. So had I not been boycotting, then I would have been like, sure, let's go.
But if you had gone, then you'd be accused of cultural appropriation for drinking a margarita.
I have to call that a boycott.
Yeah,
the reason is that you're a Mexican food aficionado.
Not an aficionado.
You
no.
will eat Mexican food.
I like it.
If at any opportunity, if somebody was going to prepare you Mexican food daily, you would be happier for it.
I'd probably get tired of this every day.
I can't imagine.
I'll bring down some of my chili for you.
All right.
I just made
is that
this,
Mexican food?
It's this maple venison chili I made for John Babier's birthday. And,
that sounds nice.
Everybody seemed to love it. So
does that count as Mexican though? I mean, I'm not saying don't bring it. Please, feel free.
It's pretty spicy. So
you can't outspice it, Ian.
Oh, please stop, like bragging about. I'm not like the most spice tolerant person out there. I don't eat ghost peppers or anything like that. I'm not into maximum. What is it? What's the? There's like a measurement for
Scovilles.
Scovilles.
Yeah.
That's right. And so they have measurements of what is the spiciest, the hottest thing out there. Anyway, not into that. Not into pain, but I do like a little bit of spice, and New England food tends to be bland.
I was just trying to get him to bring the food.
Yeah.
Like
I say, by all means,
I think you'll like it.
Bring some chili. I love some good chili. There's no doubt about it. Let's go to Parker. He's on the line on Skype, calling from Washington State. Go ahead, Parker.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Not a whole lot. So, have you guys heard at all about this like November 4th thing that Antifa is going to try and do, or they like cause violence, presumably to like overthrow the government or whatever?
Why, yes, I have. I've actually had this pulled up as show prep for the last several days, and I haven't gotten to it because it's not really critical yet. It's going to happen apparently on November 4th, as you mentioned, and website refusefascism.org. It's fascism, drive out the Trump-Pence regime. End this nightmare. November 4th, take to the streets. Day after day, the Trump-Pence regime must go. Apparently, they think they're going to protest their way out of the Trump-Pence administration.
I was under the impression that they were going to incite or enact acts of violence.
There's a good chance if it's Antifa.
I do hear that gun purchases among the left has been increasing. So we may see some actual violence. It may not be actual leftists, but it might just be. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, and unfortunate if it does get to that point.
Well, your first test is going to be this tomorrow. As we reported last night here on Free Talk Live, the governor of the state of Florida has issued a state of emergency for Alachua County, and they're bringing in hundreds of police with the expectation of a major clash between the white nationalists and the anti-fascists.
Is that because Richard Spencer is going to be talking at University of Florida?
That's correct. They're going to be bringing in 500 cops. They're going to have the university itself is footing the bill for $500,000 worth of security for this event. I mean, it is a crazy situation that could be very interesting
I think
tomorrow.
He's controlled opposition because
Spencer?
Because he's openly stated that he is a socialist.
Well, there's actually somebody who claims that if you do some digging, you can find out that he's funded by George Soros. More coming up here in moments. 855-450 free, and then of course they also say Soros is funding Antifa, so that he's funding both of them.
Classical dialectics.
More on the way here. It's Free Talk Live.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dynavite is nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite...
No.
When I get to about 3/4...
When I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite, oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want. Just dial toll-free. Take control of the airwaves here. 855-450-FREE like freedom. 855-450-3733. In the studio here tonight, it's Ian,
Mike,
and Mark. You likely have taken at some point in your life some kind of nutritional supplement, and it's a good idea to take some kind of multivitamin or whatever, but you need to understand the limitations. Multivitamins that you're getting at the store and that sort of thing, they're synthetic. They certainly don't cover everything. If you visited, say, a naturopath or something like that, you'd likely be told that you need probiotics, enzymes, antioxidants, and all kinds of other nutrients. By the time it's all said and done, you're buying 5 different bottles of products, spending $150 per month. If that's a situation that you've experienced or you've heard about, then you need to know about Whole Food Multi-Complete. Because for 15 years, Whole Food Multi-Complete has been quietly providing what the big guys won't: the perfect blend of 7 supplements in a single product. They've taken the expense and the complexity out of a complete supplement program. You can visit simplifymysupplements.com and learn more. Know that I lost somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds, sort of accidentally, simply by because of the probiotic and balancing out my gut. And I didn't even know, I didn't know why I was losing weight. Couldn't figure it out. Enter coupon code FTL when you're at simplifymysupplements.com. You can receive 10% off your order every time you order. Simplifymysupplements.com. Coupon code FTL. Satisfaction guaranteed. And they take Bitcoin.
Parker's on the line with us here from Washington State. You called in to ask if we'd heard about the protests coming up on November 4th by the Antifa, the anti-fascist group, who have been accused in a lot of instances, some of the members of that group have been accused of fomenting violence at various different, let's say, public speaking events or protests, counter-protests. We're going to be seeing likely the clash. Well, the police are going to try to get in the way, supposedly, but there's a purported clash going to happen tomorrow in Gainesville, Florida, at the University of Florida, where a white supremacist or white nationalist is going to be speaking, and both the white nationalists and the Antifa folks are planning on being there in large numbers. So we'll see what happens then. And then just weeks away, November 4th, there's a website, refusefascism.org, that's been set up where they say that this nightmare must end. Parker, what Well, I'll tell you more, I guess, from the site here in moments, but you already know what's going on here. We'll enlighten our listeners a little bit further. What brought this to your attention, Parker?
Well, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos over the last couple of days, and I've had some small knowledge of it before my more enlightening views on YouTube. But here's what I'm wondering, because Antifa claims to be anarcho-communist.
Do they? Okay, not surprised.
I'll bet there are a whole bunch of things, but sort of the core of it all.
It's probably a mishmash of a whole bunch of different things. Some are commies, some are anarcho-communist, some are socialist.
I bet you're right.
So I don't necessarily see how someone could possibly be an anarchist and a socialist, or an anarchist and a communist at the same time. That's beside the point. But so you have that, and they're violent, and then you've got the government, and they are inherently violent.
Sure.
Now, that being said, because I live about 2.5 hours to 3 hours away from Seattle, let's say Antifa were to start engaging in violence and attacking peaceful.
They are planning an event in Seattle, by the way.
Okay, well that's So let's say hypothetically. And this might not remain hypothetical for much longer, but let's say just for the moment, hypothetically, that they started engaging in violence and started to attack peaceful people. What of these four options would you guys take? Would you fight Antifa, fight the states, fight both, or fight neither?
I don't believe fighting is going to. I mean, obviously, if you're attacked, you should defend yourself. But I don't generally believe that fighting is going to lead us to peace.
If you know there's going to be violence someplace, the first thing to do is to avoid that. If you're going to if you're going someplace to intentionally confront, then you're not quite in the range.
You're asking for it.
Yeah, you're not really defending yourself if you purposely go there expecting to be attacked.
Well, let me rephrase the question a little bit.
And Mark, you didn't answer the question either.
I think that it is our responsibility as voluntarists, or as anarcho-capitalists, or agorists, whichever one of those three you choose to identify as. It is our responsibility to protect people to the best of our ability when we see violence being enacted against peaceful persons. So
how was that responsibility created?
Well, I tend to think that that the government's not going to the government has no desire nor any ability to protect people. People have the ability to protect themselves.
Generally, if you have a responsibility, there has to be some sort of way that it was created, like you agreed to do something. And I'm not saying that you're wrong to suggest that people should stand up for innocence if they are being attacked. I don't think that's the wrong thing to do, but it's also not necessarily wrong for somebody to preserve themselves and, get the heck out of there.
I think it's more a matter of, being a good neighbor. You're going to defend your neighbor. Mm-hmm. Right. And then it's a matter of, how far do you go in defining who is your neighbor?
Yeah,
right. And how far do you go with the defense?
Okay, so yes, I concur with those statements, but
which statements?
That you should defend your, people and that sort of thing.
What about people you don't know?
But if you, for instance, are part of a military, organization, and you go to, say, halfway around the world, you set up camp, people then attack your neighbor, you are no longer, in my opinion, defending your neighbor. You're just an invading force. So if you leave your house, your neighborhood, your
and go to Seattle,
city,
crossing a border,
state, your region, and you go to some other place in order to defend your neighbors, you are no longer doing what I would consider.
Well, wait. So can Parker go to Seattle?
Parker can do whatever he wants.
No, but would he be defending his neighbors?
Where's the border between Parker's neighbors and Parker's not neighbors?
That's right. It's three houses out.
Well, I tend to think that if I'm in Seattle and I see someone, if I see an Antifa member with like a mask on their face coming at a guy with like a bat or a stick or a knife or something, and I've got a firearm and I have a reasonable belief that the Antifa member is going to cause bodily harm to the person that the Antifa member is rushing, I think I have a responsibility to pull my firearm and shoot the guy.
You are looking for trouble.
If you're purposely there and purposely armed, expecting that to happen, you're contributing to the issue. However, perhaps the neighborhood watch may want to ask for volunteers to help ensure security of peaceful civilians, and in that case, you're dealing with something a bit more organized. But really, if you're just a guy who's looking for a place where something may happen, you really don't want to be contributing to that sort of a problem.
Yeah, what's the legality of that situation that he just described there? If the fight hasn't actually begun, but somebody's menacing and coming at another person with a weapon, do you have the legal ability to step in and do that? And does it change state by state? More coming up.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
Chad here, owner of Infidel Body Armor. With the shooting in Vegas, there will be calls to ban guns and body armor. You can expect prices to rise dramatically in the coming weeks as gun grabbers try to outlaw your freedom. If you don't have your armor kit yet, you're behind the curve. Don't miss your window of opportunity. Go to infidelbodyarmor.com and click on Specials. That's infidelbodyarmor.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Following this afternoon's arrest of Congress on the charge of over 23 million counts of manslaughter, our reporter spoke to Mark Westnick from Savannah, Georgia, just one of the many Americans that has lost a loved one due to the legislative branch's criminal negligence.
Because of Congress, my 23-year-old son died 2 years ago in Afghanistan. My nephew, he lost his leg in Iraq in 2006, and my brother died in Vietnam in 1969. Congress killed my family.
Defense attorneys for the now incarcerated 538-member group have dismissed the claims made by Westnick and other victims and released a statement saying their client has been, quote, a pillar of the national community for over 200 years and completely innocent of any and all wrongdoing. Keep checking theonion.com for more as this story develops.
is the Onion News Network.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us right here and take control of the airwaves. We're talking about the upcoming Antifa protests that are scheduled, not the one tomorrow that's going to be happening in University of Florida in Gainesville. That we discussed last night, the expected fight between the white nationalists and the Antifa and the police. It's brewing up for tomorrow.
Sounds like a football game.
It's yeah, right. Pick your colors. But we're talking about it was actually Parker who called in. He's still on the line, actually, in Washington State, about upcoming protests on November 4th, where the Antifa folks are protesting around the country in various different states. Not every state, apparently, but in basically, some states. And if you can go to their website, which is refusefascism.org, you can see what they have to say about it. They've got a lengthy piece here about how terrible, Donald Trump is, and there's no doubt Trump's a bad guy, but I don't think that getting out in the streets is going to end the nightmare, as they're saying here. This nightmare must end. Millions must feel this and ache with the question of how to stop this unrelenting terror. The stakes are nothing less than the future of humanity and the planet itself. Who will end this nightmare? We will. Only the determined struggle of millions of people acting together with courage and conviction can drive this regime from power. Now, don't get me wrong. I would be so happy if they could drive, a regime out of Washington, D.C. I'd prefer they not be replaced by any other regime, but of course that tends to...
the regime they want is going to be even worse.
Well,
yes.
right.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's always going to get worse, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican. Barack Obama made things worse over George Bush. Donald Trump's making things worse over Barack Obama. And, it doesn't matter who follows who. Things are going to get worse. But I'd love to see, the regime replaced with nothing. But unfortunately, that's not how regime removals tend to go.
I'm not sure what the end game here must be. Something like we need to get people mobilized so that we can, once they are emotionally attached to us, then we can get our message out to them a little better.
Well, I'll share what they want here in moments. They've got a statement, but let's go back to Parker, because he was talking about literally fighting with people in the streets, saying that libertarians should have some sort of obligation to defend peaceful people. And certainly, if you see, some kid or a grandmother or whatever getting mugged, then that makes, it's pretty clear who you can defend in that circumstance. But you were talking about, Parker, if you were standing in a situation where somebody with a bat is coming at another person, who you don't know if that other person is armed. They might be. They may have a gun in the small of their back for all you know. But, you say if that person with a bat's coming at them, you think that if you have a gun, you should go ahead and blast them away. And we didn't talk about this on the air, but I wanted to bring up the issue of, state by state, there are different rules as far as you said off the air, Mike, stand your ground.
Yeah. There's different legal standards about use of self-defense. For instance, Massachusetts had their legal standard is what's called a duty to retreat. So if you are faced with a violent attacker, your duty is to retreat from that confrontation.
And isn't that true in your own home? That you have to leave, run out of your own home?
Unless there are children or elderly or disabled people there.
Oh.
And the other exception is if you reach a point in your house where there is no retreat.
I see. They got you cornered.
Like if you would have to break your legs to jump out the window a couple of stories,
right,
then you can defend yourself. But
otherwise you got to jump out a window. That
right,
sounds safe.
Then a state like New Hampshire and apparently Washington State, you have stand your ground, where no matter where you are, if you're confronted by someone and you believe that they are presenting a deadly threat to you, you are authorized to use deadly force. The problem is that if both sides are showing up someplace expecting the other side to use deadly force, both sides are going to be expecting the other and feeling the other is going to be deadly force. So you're really creating a armed confrontation there, and that's really not something that
you want to get involved in.
Yeah. No.
Parker, any other thoughts?
Well, how about this as a thought? Let's adjust my hypothesis for a moment. Let's say that instead of an armed man coming at a peaceful person, and you have reasonable belief that the Antifa member will enact violence. Let's suppose that he's already actively, like the attack is imminent. It's going to happen. You see it. It's like slow motion. Sometimes when something happens, like everything just sort of slows down. It's like that. So you see the attack already in progress. Do you have some obligation to stop it?
No, you don't have any obligation to ever intervene in a situation. You may claim that there's a moral obligation to do so from whatever belief system.
There's not a moral obligation. You feel an obligation.
And there may be some argument under, for instance, Good Samaritan law that you are shielded from legal liability for defending someone against a criminal.
I'd check with an attorney on that one first.
Definitely.
Hey, Parker, thanks for the call.
I am not an attorney.
You're better off staying home on this one, but thank you for the call tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Before we go on with more calls here, I want to read an excerpt from this lengthy screed on refusefascism.org. This is what they say is going to happen on November 4th, 2017. They say, "We will gather in the streets and public squares of cities and towns across this country, at first many thousands, declaring that this whole regime is illegitimate and that we will not stop until our single demand is met. This nightmare must end. The Trump-Pence regime must go." Well, now, first of all, again, I don't support anybody in the federal government in Washington, D.C. I wish they would just disappear from the face of the planet. That said, though, I mean, there's a strong argument that from the system's perspective, Trump is legitimate because he was elected through the legal process, just as Bush and Barack Obama were before him. You may not like the results of that process, but ultimately, it was legitimate from the system's perspective. Going on, it says here, our protests must grow day after day and night after night. So they're not just talking about one day here. They're hoping this will be an ongoing Occupy kind of growing thing where people keep coming and keep supporting.
Yeah, they like the revolution sort of idea.
It's a dialectical conflict strategy. It's a typical Marxist revolutionary strategy.
Thousands becoming hundreds of thousands and then millions, determined to act to put a stop to the grave danger that the Trump-Pence regime poses to the world by demanding that this whole regime be removed from power. Our actions will reflect the values of respect for all of humanity and the world we want, in stark contrast to the hate and bigotry of the Trump-Pence fascist regime. Our determination to persist and not back down will compel the whole world to take note. Every force and faction in the power structure would be forced to respond to our demand. The cracks and divisions. Oh, they responded. Remember what happened last time with Occupy? The power structure definitely responded. Who was in charge of the country in 2011?
Yep.
Well, you didn't see many anti-war protests during that regime.
No, that's true. They went. Those protests went away, and we haven't really seen much anti-war protests since the new regime either. Yeah. By the way,
yeah, this is anti-fascism, what they define as fascism.
So no, I'm sorry. I don't think. First of all, I'm color me skeptical that you're going to ever hit millions of people in the streets over this particular thing. I think even if millions of people agree with Antifa, most of them are too afraid to do anything about it because nobody wants to get their head cracked in by a police truncheon. I mean, I'm not saying that people shouldn't stand up for what they believe in, but it's hard to get these kind of numbers that they are talking about.
If you've got bad ideas, you shouldn't stand up for them.
Basically, you're asking people to walk away from whatever job or family obligations that they have.
But they don't care about that.
The people who are organizing the protests don't.
How many of those actually have jobs?
That's what I'm saying. The people who do have jobs and who do have families, they're the ones who they have to be pushed to the brink. I mean, if you look at a situation like Venezuela, where people are actually starving because of a terrifying socialist regime in that particular case, socialist, fascist, I don't care. I mean, whether we're talking about Trump or Pence or Nicolas Maduro, they're all scum as far as I'm concerned. But even down in Venezuela, where people are starving and they've lost, the average person I think has lost like 17 pounds in the last year because they just don't have food, and they're relying on the government now to bring food in, and that's resulting in all kinds of disaster. But even in that situation, Maduro's still holding on to power.
And he's telling people to raise rabbits.
They do. It's a great form of meat. There's no doubt. Rabbits and chickens. I got to say chickens because they both produce eggs.
But let's go on with the vision here of what they want to happen. So they say the cracks and divisions among the powers already evident today will sharpen and widen. As we draw more and more people forward to stand up, all of this could lead to a situation where this illegitimate regime is removed from power. Really? Who's could do that exactly? I mean,
and do what? Put Hillary in power?
Right. Put the military in power, because normally it's a military, rising up that will do this sort of thing. More coming up here in moments. 8:55, 450, free. It's Free Talk Live.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are two Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic at Dinovite.
This year, whenever you order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog, we'll send you a free sample of one of the other doggy things we make.
Like Lico Chaps, Super Mega Fish Oil, or Doggo Suds Shampoo.
What's on your dog's wish list?
We'll offer a different freebie each week at Dinovite.com.
Don't you just love the sound of healthy, happy dogs?
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Kiyosaki, Rogers, and Schiff all concur there's an economic calamity that will be facing this country. My question to you is, do you know when, and are you prepared? Most people don't, but my friends over at Republic Monetary Exchange have been leading experts in precious metals to help you offset the coming economic collapse. Right now, for a limited time, they have a free book called The 10 Reasons You Should Own Gold. You simply need to give them a call at 888-772-2929 to get that in your hands. Do not allow the insiders to do what they did to you in 2008, putting your IRAs, 401ks, and savings in jeopardy. You need this book, and you need it now. The 10 Reasons You Should Own Gold. Call 888-772-2929. That's 888-772-2929. There's a reason that the largest investment banking company in the world, JP Morgan, just purchased another 50 million ounces of silver. This free book will explain it. 888-772-2929.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and of course you can bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Ian, Mike, and Mark in the studio here tonight. Also, of course, want to invite you to our website. You can help support Free Talk Live on the AMP program. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. The idea is you can send in $5 a month to the show, and you can get access to perks, just like James Whittakind has done in Arizona. People have been surprised that James Witt is now in the AMP-only Facebook group, but he really did amp the show, and if you've been wanting to interact with him on the internet, then this is one way that you can do that, because he is in there, it seems like on a daily basis, having arguments and insulting our other amplifiers. So
and hosts.
Yeah, so if you want to get a little bit of action with James, he is now one of the features in our AMP-only Facebook group. If you would like to turn him off as a feature, you can just block his profile, and then he won't see anything he posts.
Today he tagged me in some rambling screed, and I put the 10 tips for beginners in meditation for him. Yeah,
it's a great idea. So let's see here. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can sign up with PayPal, with credit card, or Bitcoin. It is up to you, and you get perks. There's other ones besides the AMP-only Facebook group. You can get access to the AMP-only call-in lines. We had a caller using them tonight. You also have access to the AMP-only podcast and more. Get all the details and get signed up, and it helps us, by the way, when you do that. It helps us get on more radio stations and bring the ideas of liberty to more new ears. So go to amp.freetalklive.com. Continuing with the remainder, it's fairly short here at this point. The anti-fascists, refusefascism.org, they plan to grow their numbers in the streets starting on November 4th. Believing that they can, day after day, bring thousands to become hundreds of thousands, then millions of people into the streets across America to try to put a stop to the Trump-Pence regime. They believe that it could lead to a situation where their regime is removed from power. Now, I'm not sure exactly how that would work, because Trump is not going to remove himself from power. The people...
Unlikely.
I mean, we've seen people protesting in the streets before. That does not result in regimes being removed from power. Now, in like the Arab Spring or whatever, firebombing the government buildings and actually fighting with the government people, that did successfully result with the assistance of I think it was the Egyptian military, in the government being removed from power.
They might conceivably get the state of Washington, or at least the western portion of it, to secede from the Union. That would
based on protests in the streets? I mean, that'd be great. If that's all it takes for secession to all of a sudden take hold, that'd be great. But that's not what they're asking for.
They're talking about millions of people in the streets.
They want the whole country under their boot.
Oh, yeah, they do.
That's not what they're asking for. They don't want to leave. They want Trump to leave. That's what they want. And normally when some regime is ejected from power, what is it, 9 times out of 10, it's the military that does it, and then you have a military coup on your hands, basically, and then the military puts their own people in whatever roles of...
That's what happens.
Yeah. So let me go on here. Spread the word and organize now, they say. Be part of making history. Don't let it be said that you stood aside when there was still a chance to stop a regime that imperils humanity and the earth itself. Join in taking to the streets and the public squares day after day and night after night, demonstrating that in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. On November 4th, 2017, we will stand together with conviction and courage, overcoming fear and uncertainty to insist that this nightmare must end. The Trump-Pence regime must go. And then they give you the website here. There's locations and all kinds of organizing.
Are they giving fashion tips for red shirts or brown shirts?
Well, I think the brown shirts will be on the fascist side, right? And then the red shirts will be on the Antifa side.
How can you tell the difference? It's just
skinheads. So the fascists, they kind of have that skinhead look to them, like Richard Spencer with the buzz cut.
The Antifa people act a lot like fascists these days.
Sure they do. There's no doubt about it. But they look different, right? Like the Antifas, they've got the hoods, they've got the
masks.
The masks, they've got
Shields.
the dreadlocks. So there's definitely a different kind of
lack of personal hygiene
look to them. Anyway, let's go to John. He's in New York, and we're going to follow this situation, obviously. So on the 4th, I'm sure this is something we're going to be talking about. And in fact, tomorrow there's that situation that's going to hit in the University of Florida. Hello, John. You are on the air.
Well, hello. How are you tonight, sir?
What's on your mind?
I've got a question for you.
Yes.
You guys know what bed bugs are?
I've heard about these things.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I've never had an experience with them.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm ground zero here in Auburn. We have an epidemic in Auburn, New York.
Oh, no.
I wrote that book, The Ethics of Holocaust, and I'm telling you, I went to get a clothing voucher today, And they told me, we can't give you clothes here because they shut our funding down because there's a bed bug epidemic in Auburn. And I knew there was years ago,
Damn.
and it's gotten worse. I'm telling you right now, there's things crawling on my wall. I can't even move in the kitchen. I have no clothes. I'm wearing no clothes right now because I have no clothes.
That sounds like a personal issue.
It's funny. It's really funny, right? I got the dog.
That is funny.
Warm,
it's going to get cold real soon up there in Auburn, New York.
Ray weighs 3 pounds, but she's 102 degrees, so it's okay. I got the oven on. I'm cool.
You've got the oven on. You're naked in your kitchen.
I would bundle up and turn off the heat and open your freezer and just freeze them out because the bugs.
Freeze the bugs. I don't know if that's how you do it.
That does not kill a bed bug.
No.
They are insidious. They can live 300 days without food. They live in the walls. Yeah.
Why do they call them bed bugs if they live in the walls? Why not call them wall bugs?
Because they do live in the walls, sir, but they're insidious to the bed. They're indigenous to the bed. They feed off carbon dioxide. They jump 3 feet.
So do they not bite?
It's my understanding you can put the bed up on sort of risers.
They're vampires. They're little vampires. I don't know why God created these little sons of guns. I'm telling you, they're insidious. You can't kill them. They're impossible to kill.
I can't believe they're impossible to kill. I mean, surely there are ways to kill.
Are very resilient.
Anything can die, but if you kill it, you'll kill yourself.
My goodness.
I would take a vacation and do a bug bomb on your whole house.
I'm telling you, those bug bombs are not as effective as you might like to believe, or at least they weren't against fleas. We had a situation here with not at the studio.
There's only one known treatment. There's only one known treatment out there. It'll give everybody a secret. If you've got bed bugs, you put your clothes in the dryer for 30 minutes on high. That will kill the lice, the eggs, and everything. I do this for a living. I exterminate bed bugs. Now,
but I thought you just said you couldn't get rid of them.
You can't. But
well, then how can you do? Are you scamming people, dude? Are you going out there telling people you'll get rid of their bed bugs and then putting down poison that doesn't work?
I think he's capturing them and taking them home.
I can kill the bed bugs. I can kill bed bugs in any clothing, but they get in walls. You have to heat, treat, and seal it. It costs about $70,000 to do a 5-story building.
Damn, that's crazy.
You can heat up to 210 degrees. That melts everything, and that kills everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can always set the place on fire, and that will take care of it. Thank you for the call tonight, John. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. He's Ricky in Pennsylvania. Ricky, go ahead.
That's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, go ahead. Short on time.
Well, that's all right. I just want to ask you a quick question about Christopher Cantwell before I go into that other piece about.
We don't have time for another thing. Go ahead with the question.
All right, quickly. Well, you know what? Screw it. Screw the question.
All right.
Christopher Cantwell in jail, obviously.
Yep, he's there.
Right?
That's right.
Okay. Mark gave me an interesting idea the other night when Brett was on. Something I always knew when he said about shooting the pigs in the head, just like my old man used to when he was younger.
We're talking about porcine animals. Go ahead.
Right. Because you cannot I mean, they can make it difficult with a carry permit, but in New Hampshire and in the Commonwealth, they cannot take your rights away to own or even, for that matter, carry a firearm. Now, here's my idea.
Sure they can.
Do it all the time.
If you commit a felony, you definitely can. Or
they've done it to me.
What did you say, Ricky? What did you say?
They can't actually take you. Well, I know here they can't actually take your rights away. They can make it difficult to get a carry permit, but they can't take your rights away. But that's no matter. Check me this out. I had a great idea. Solve all this. Chris is down in jail down in Virginia, and he's not even being treated like a human being.
Mark, Ricky says you can have guns. They can't take your rights away.
Well, there's an argument.
I'll talk about that another night. But here's where my idea come in. Okay? Get this.
Where your idea come in?
I was thinking, now follow with me. Now, Chris ain't even being treated like a human being. Now, this is wrong. Okay, now I'm a deputy of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Now, you got that nice cruiser you drive around in there, Ian.
No, actually I don't, but I had one at one point in the past, and it was never mine. I just drove it.
Okay, but here, follow me up.
Yeah.
So you got a vehicle. So here's what we do. Great idea. Now, just follow with me here.
Okay, you got to spit it out, like now.
You got Mark, and you got Daryl.
Yep,
now,
we're all cruising.
I don't get to come along?
Follow me on this. Okay.
It's the hardest thing to do ever is to follow you on anything, but we're trying. Go ahead.
Oh, if you listen, you'll get it, man.
Oh, I'm sure. We're going to get it here in 20 seconds.
Because that's the Commonwealth of Virginia. That is what we do. We dress all in black. Follow me. You, me, Mark, Daryl. We go down to the Commonwealth of Virginia, and the nice thing is, You know, you have your pistol of choice there that you normally carry. We give Mark a shotgun.
I wish we could have taken his call earlier.
Follow me on this.
I can't. I can't. You'll have to call tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
Fact. The new NSA data center in Utah requires 1.7 million gallons of water every single day to operate. Billions of Fourth Amendment violations need massive computers and the water to cool them. That water is being supplied by the state of Utah. Fact. There's absolutely nothing in the Constitution which requires your state to help the feds violate your rights. Our message to Utah: turn it off. No water equals no NSA data center. Visit offnow.org.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, October 18th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.92 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,311. Antiwar.com reports a late August U.S.-led raid against a Somali farming village sparked a lot of anger among surviving locals. Now investigators believe resentment from that raid may have provoked a recent massive bombing attack in the Somali capital of Mogadishu. The Somali government initially claimed everyone killed in the farming village was a terrorist, but provincial officials confirmed almost immediately all of the victims were in fact civilians working in the farming area, some of them children. Moreover, the evidence was they were summarily executed. Somali investigators say that local tribal elders had called for revenge after the killings of the civilians and were particularly mad at the central government for spending so long denying anything had happened. They say it's possible that the Mogadishu attack, which killed over 300, was that revenge. There's been no claim of responsibility for the bombings as of yet, which is unusual if it was carried out by Al-Shabaab, as officials claim. The truck containing explosives was detonated remotely and parked near a fuel truck, which was also detonated. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. UPI reports a federal judge in Hawaii on Tuesday blocked much of the Trump administration's third attempt at a travel ban largely targeting Muslim-majority nations. The judicial order said the United States cannot block entry by people from 6 of the 8 countries: Chad, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen. The travel ban is still in place for some travelers from North Korea and Venezuela. Judge Derek K. Watson said the order plainly discriminates based on nationality, adding it suffers precisely from the same maladies as its predecessors. It lacks sufficient finding that the entry of more than 150 million nationals from 6 specific countries would be detrimental to the interest of the United States. A statement from the White House said the Department of Justice would defend the order. The American Civil Liberties Union and partner organizations in September sued to stop implementation of the order, which was announced on September 24th. U.S. officials said the 8 countries listed in the ban were unable or unwilling to provide information to the United States required to fully vet travelers. Federal judges blocked the first 2 versions of Trump's travel ban, and the Supreme Court was scheduled to hear arguments on the second ban in its new term. The High Court canceled the hearings after a third ban rendered the previous lawsuit moot. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the Chicago Department of Aviation has fired 2 security officials for their roles in the forcible removal of a passenger on a United Airlines flight in April, an incident that provoked international outrage. The firings were included in a report on the incident released on Tuesday by the Chicago Office of the Inspector General. Dr. David Dow, a 69-year-old physician, was hospitalized after aviation officers dragged him from a United Airlines plane to make space for 4 crew members on the flight from Chicago's O'Hare International Airport to Louisville, Kentucky. Videos of Dow being dragged down the aisle of the jet sparked public outcry. The report did not name the officers, but said one escalated a non-threatening situation into a physically violent one and said a second removed facts from one report. In addition to firing the 2 officers, the department issued 5-day suspensions to 2 others. Chicago aviation officials said the firings occurred in August. Service Employees International Union Local 73, which represents the aviation officers, has accused the aviation commissioner, Ginger Evans, of scapegoating the officers to divert attention away from mismanagement. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. A report by Stanford University researchers released Thursday found that Americans spend 90% of their waking hours staring at glowing rectangles. Researchers identified more than 30 varieties of iridescent rectangles, ranging from personal and work rectangles to rectangles that heat food and those that can fit right in one's pocket.
From the moment Americans wake up, they are captivated by these bright, pulsing rectangles. In fact, if you look at the data, it's hard to find a single minute when the public isn't captivated by these, excuse me, I'm sorry, where were we?
In local news, a run-over squirrel is remembered as frantic and indecisive. And in other news, a trail of rose petals leads a wife to a sink full of dishes. Prince Fielder reports to spring training exactly the right amount overweight, and a local yard sale reeks of divorce. If you don't hear the sound of my voice the same time next week, alert my family and then visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
I was just saying that those are little I put out a 5-minute kind of clip just to get people interested in the full documentary.
Okay, yeah, so it's clips from that. We must first shed our fear of it.
You originally did that years ago, didn't you?
Without fear.
I did the first part 2 years ago. How big oil pump in the world? This is part 2.
Not because of the past that lies before me.
And it's brand new. It's fresh off the plate. It's about a week and a half old.
Oh, so this is what you were talking about. You were working on. You're going to release.
Yeah. This is the biggie. This is what I've been working on for a long time.